Yo, 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 this is DPS Podcast. That's Damage Per Second Podcast. Back on a fine Thursday night, feeling extra all right. I am one of your hosts, SloMoBackSlap, here with the other actor extraordinaire co-host, Ramon Terrell in the house, Gaming Forte, our third leg, so to speak. Oh, that sounds terrible. Can I say that? Fine, third leg. Um, uh, See, no, people going to have a sexual connotation to that. Never mind. The third host of the show, Gaming Forte, is running a little late, but he will be here fairly soon. But we are, we got some interesting topics to talk about. Definitely a state of play, impressions to get into. But without further ado, Ramon Terrell, how you doing, bro?
Yo, I am doing well. Happy to be here. And my fine Thursday evening. Little, if anybody had ever told me that way back when I used to live in California, that one, I'd be living in Canada, and two, I'd have my fireplace going on June in any time in June, I would have laughed. But we it's been hot and chilly off and on here, so it's been kind of weird. But yeah, man, everything is good. Everything is good. Just you know,
It's
trying to
funny
enjoy my
that you say
time.
that because I'm wearing a sweater and sweatpants in my office right now because it's funny. I probably need an extra like air conditioner because my house is just like it's not like a huge house, but it's tall and we're always pumping the AC because all the way up at the top, like it's like we're trying to sleep and it's like not the coolest. But when you do that in the basement, freaking freezing. And so I'm
Right.
constantly like down here working or doing other things, doing the podcast, and I'm wearing like layers of clothes to stay warm in freaking June when everyone upstairs is all like, enjoying the nice temperature and everything. So it's just hilarious how, weather is and whatnot. But I'm fairly certain you're doing that. You got the fireplace going just because it's Canada and it's just cold in June for some odd reason. Huh?
Yeah, every so often we summer gets off to a little bit of a later start, but it's kind of weird. It's been random because we had more warm days in May than is typical, and
Hmm.
then we get to June, and it's been up and down. I mean, last week it was hot, like it was like 30 degrees, and then we wait 30 degrees Celsius. Sorry, so right around what 90 something. Um, and then and then it'll drop and it'll rain, and then we're back down to like in the low 70s to mid 60s. And then we back up again. So it's been a seesaw thing, but I figure in another week it'll probably summer will really kick in, and then it'll start warming up and then stay there. But we're kind of happy for it right now because Pacific Northwest, you get to start getting the forest fires and stuff like that. So
Right.
the more moisture we have and cooler weather throughout summer, the less of the forest fires and the smog that it creates, will happen.
Yeah, I feel you, man. What you been playing?
I have been playing Forza Horizon 5 and Crimson Desert, just like the last 2 weeks. Um, and I have So Crimson Desert has set a record for me. It is the first game that I've voluntarily played 100 hours, and the reason I say voluntary is because uh, what is it? Vanilla Persona 5 was for just base main campaign was about 127 or 130 hours to beat, and like it was involuntary in that I would not have, if I had a choice, I would not have played it that long. It was a really good game, but it was just for me, it was just I was tired. I was exhausted by the time I finished it. It was just so much. So that's why I say Crimson Desert is the first game where I'm like, you know, I didn't have to play this long, to get to 100 hours, but I voluntarily have because it's been that much fun.
Mhm.
And I just today finished chapter 6, and I'm 100 hours in. So it's oh, and I finally beat that freaking that that boss at the Absolution, what do you call it? Sanctum of Absolution.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I finally beat that freaking ghost boss thing, and that was a pain. And then I fought this jackal boss, and if there's one thing I gotta say, the boss fights are weird in Crimson Desert because they can be fun, but the bosses all have a same cheat move that they all do. It's some version of a teleport move. They all do it. I don't know why Pearl Abyss is so married to the teleport move, but every boss has some form of a teleport move. It's annoying. And it's literally a battle of attrition where you just have to have enough food and Palmer pills. Like your skill level matters, but it's hard to describe. Like the combat is good for fighting tons of regular people and even like a small boss, but the combat isn't on par with the kind of cheapness and challenge of the actual bosses, in my opinion. So, that's it's a small flaw, a small complaint, but I mean the game is still a blast, and of course, I'm gonna keep it brief on Forza, but Forza, I'm loving the game, but it feels like it almost feels like they were a game made by a studio that's a little tired. And what I mean by that is the characters are way better in Forza Horizon 5. The music was better. And there's just something there's a feel to it that just feels like there's not quite as much passion as Forza Horizon 5 was. It's hard for me to describe what I mean. That's not to say I'm not loving the game,
Mhm.
but there's the spirit of it feels different.
It's a
Like
little
it
stale.
just doesn't. Yeah, yeah, and it's not because the formula is stale. I mean, yeah, they do need to do more. They need to change it up and shake it up for the next one.
Mhm.
But I love the Horizon series, so like that doesn't necessarily bother me. But they added some cool stuff like the treasure cars and everything. Barn finds are back, which I love, but they definitely something isn't quite there with the feel of the game. I don't know if it's just because the characters sound like chatbots now, but yeah, it's something is just a tiny thing that's just
Here's a
slightly
question
off.
for you.
But
Um,
yeah,
the forgot the guy's name, but the guy that directed Forza Horizon 5, I believe, has
Clutch. I know
started
what you're about to say.
yeah, he started his own studio, Maverick Games, and that
Oh yes,
studio has revealed, or at least I think we'll probably see more of it in the next week or so. So we could, I guess, talk about it next week. But Clutch, which is I guess, a competitor for Forza Horizon because it's a arcadey kind of not so serious racing game. And I wonder if that might, because if you really enjoy Forza Horizon 5, like, well, that's what, he and a portion of his team in Maverick Games created. Maybe what's missing from 6, you might find with that game. You think you'll be interested in that?
absolutely. And I'm hoping. Number one, I'm hoping for them I'm pulling for them anyway because anytime it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of moxie to leave a safety net and strike out on your own and start a studio. So,
Mhm.
I always root for them, when they do something like that. But the game just looks awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing more. I'm hoping to see more at the Summer Games Fest or the Xbox Showcase, one of those, or both. But they definitely have my interest. So if they stick the landing on that, I will be there. So hopefully we get to see more soon.
Cool, cool, cool. Forte, how you doing, bro?
Hey,
Yo, what's up?
Mike,
What
quick
is
mic
up?
check. Say something else again.
Yeah, what's up?
You sound a little low. Maybe that's
Oh,
me. Maybe hold on, don't do nothing. Let me make sure I don't have you.
oh.
Actually, I do have you a little low. Let me take care of that. Okay. Say something again.
Hello, SloMo. Always muting me or making me lower so people can't hear what I'm saying.
I see that never happens, but you do sound better now. So what's up, man?
Oh, I wonder how I sound better.
I think you sat up and stop being lazy and just actually
No,
start speaking into your microphone. But it's
I'm
all right.
always my mic is always in the same spot, that I always sit in. I don't lean back in my chair unless I'm going to sleep,
Which is
which I
happens.
which not in this show it doesn't.
It happens in your chair pretty often.
Not really.
Forte.
Like probably what, twice
Forte.
in the last year?
Forte.
Yeah.
You did an entire you forgot to turn the stream off, fell asleep in your chair, and the stream went
Oh my!
on all night long.
I said
World's
that's you said
longest.
whoa. You said a lot. That is one time, sir.
Well, I mean, I was just using it
I-
as an
I-
example,
no.
but
You
you
said a
you act
lot.
like
No, the word a lot means multiple, more than one. Shoot, more than 2 or 3 times.
so you saying you have not fallen asleep in your chair more
No,
than once.
I said a couple of times in the last year. I said a couple,
Mhm.
meaning probably twice.
Okay.
Definitely not 3.
Okay. Agree to disagree. That's fine. What you been
Okay, I
up?
mean,
What you been up
you
to, man?
can. Uh, what have I been doing?
Working hard.
Yeah, that too. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Working hard, literally working hard. Um, yeah, working hard, getting. Oh, speaking of which, I'm still working. Hold on a second. Go ahead and say something, SloMo.
You're still working. What you mean?
Well, someone's calling me. Hi.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, cool. All right, just make sure you mute your mic. You don't want to talk shop. It end up on the podcast. I'll go ahead and speak about what I've been doing and what I've been playing over the past week. As you may hear, my voice may sound a little crispier, a little nicer, a little more smooth. That's because I got a new microphone. It arrived earlier than it was supposed to. Uh, Best Buy's funny because Best Buy, when I first ordered it, it said, "Oh, okay, it'll arrive either like today or Friday." And then I checked on like, I don't know, it may have been Monday or Tuesday, and it said it wasn't going to arrive until Tuesday of next week. And that's kind of typical of Best Buy. So I was like, all right, they hit me with a delay, no big deal. I was expecting it. And then today I looked at it and because I got other stuff I ordered that is delayed. And I'll get into that a little bit later. And I checked, I got a email and a text message from Best Buy saying, come pick up your order. And I'm like, what? That's not, did I order something else besides the microphone? Because why would it might be there? Like, and
All right, I'm
lo and
back. But go
behold,
ahead and finish your stuff.
yeah, cool. Lo and behold, the microphone is available, and I'm just like, it's there at the store. I'm like, where'd they
Which
get
microphone you
Tuesday?
got?
I got a Shure MV7 Plus, and it does USB
MB or MD?
V is in Victor.
Oh, the MV.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does XLR
It
and
does
or
either extra
USB.
or USB. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you using USB?
yeah.
Okay.
And so far so good. I like it. It took me about an hour to set it up and get all the kinks worked out, kind of change some settings, but hopefully I sound good. Hopefully everything is working good. Outside of that, I beat Hades 2 yesterday. Fantastic game. Oh man, like it's really
Nice.
good. It's really good. Like better than Hades 1 in nearly every way. Just
Wow.
Super Giant deserves all the props in the world, and it definitely deserved to be a part of the Game of the Year conversation last year. I do kind of feel the epilogue content because, like, the way with Hades 1 and 2, once you beat the game and you roll credits, you can still continue to keep playing the game, and they've actually included, like, a narrative reason for continuing to play the game, which I do appreciate from the developer. That said, I kinda feel like the epilogue content was a bit deeper for Hades 1 than it is for Hades 2, but I'm not really complaining. The game's awesome. If you haven't played it yet, play it, buy it, whatever your favorite platform is. Hades 2 is I just think Supergiant, they are the kings of roguelites right now. They just nobody can really mess with them. So that's it. What else here? I got a bunch of games. Like I shout out to Gaming Circle Podcast in their Discord. I was in their Discord, and the most funniest thing ever. Not really funny, but just awesome and yet kind of funny. Um, we got into a gift off. And what I mean by that is like two people in the chat was like gifting each other games on their Steam wish list. And then everybody just started gifting each other games. And you know how like you don't want to be the ones like people are literally gifting you games and you're just like, "Oh, thanks, man. I guess I'm supposed to gift you something back." You're like kind of like, I mean, what you want me to like send you something? I mean, what are we doing? And eventually you're just like, you know what? Let me not be a curmudgeon that's just like I ain't said I was gonna give y'all nothing. So I'm like, I'm not a mean guy. So yeah, I gifted a couple games back, but now I got a bunch of games that I need to play that were on my wish list that I now own. And I am appreciative of that. So shout out to everyone who did that. They are good peoples. That said, I already had a backlog, so now I just feel extra bad about the games I haven't played yet. That said, I was season 4 of Black Ops 7 came out today, and I did get the battle pass and was playing it a little bit. Not too much, and I played a little the epilogue of Hades 2 as well. But I'm gonna get into this weekend is going to be full of me getting into um some of those games I got now, and just enjoying some different content because I think I'm kind of at the stage now where I'm a little past my burnout with trying new things, and I want to try some new things because playing Lunar Abyss last week was really kind of fun, and I think what I've really needed is to just play something that's a bit different and everything that I got on my backlog sitting there on my desktop staring at me every time I boot up my PC. It's a little different. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that. Forte. Oh no, real quick. Black Ops,
Yes.
Black Ops 7 Season 4. They
Trash.
they don't know how to deal with cheaters. I don't even know if they care to stop cheaters. I don't think they do. But just like I did maybe about 4 matches, and I just said, "You know what? I'm not gonna let this bother me." And so I peaced out. But at least they finally nerfed and those who've been playing the game would know what I'm talking about. The SG-12 shotgun and fire round combo that these cheap losers use because they bums and they can't use anything else in the game. If that's you, you are a bum. Just letting you know that. And they nerfed that finally because I think for 2 seasons was just super cheese mode, and that's finally done. So I didn't at least didn't see any people using that garbage when I played earlier today. But Forte, yeah, go ahead, man. What you been up to?
No, like I said, working. Played a little bit of games. Went back and re-downloaded Ace Combat, Assault Horizon, and Ace Combat 7 on PC. Hooked the flight stick up, played some of that. What else did I do? I'm probably about 12 hours into Tales of Arise on Switch 2. Really liking that. And I mean, mostly that's it. And then just running back, man. I've been doing a lot of driving this week. My daughter started Monday was the start of their new marching band season. So they had spring training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this weekend. That's why I was walking in at 9:00 because they got done at 8:30. Then you got to wait for them to put all their stuff up and come out. So back in full swing with that. 2 weeks off, and then mini camp starts, and then after that we into full blown, everything, and then basically just having conversations and stuff about how to improve and be better and stuff. So I feel like I'm being a dad and a coach at the same time when it comes to my kid. But yeah, outside of that, been working on a couple of different thumbnail ideas because I'm thinking about coming back and making videos again. So, but I want to have all that stuff kind of wrapped up in the background, so it's already just set to go with templates and everything. So, a lot of stuff coming to materialization, and just want to see a little bit more growth. So that's kind of where I'm at this point now.
Ooh.
But that's about it.
About Tales of Arise, you said you're about
Mhm.
2 hours in, so you're still pretty much in the
12.
first chapter. 12. Oh, my bad. So you fought the first big boss, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How are you liking it? Because
I love it.
okay, so and real quick, Ramon, you've played Tales of Arise as well, right?
Oh yeah, I dealt with that knucklehead Alphin.
That knucklehead.
Don't say too much. Don't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything for Forte.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
so I didn't start liking Tales of Arise until after I beat the first boss. I really almost, if it wasn't for Luca, shout out to Luca, who kept telling me to kind of just stick with it. It gets really good, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I probably would have quit before I got to that first boss. I was just kind of annoyed, like, and it's something that doesn't quite go away. There's a lot of talking parts to Tales of Arise, where it's like, and you'll probably, as you accrue more characters, as you get deeper into the game, you will see kind of like the way they do their narrative. It's like there's a bad guy or a bad woman, and she's like, I'm going to get you, right? And then the party's like, oh no, we have to deal with this. And then every person in your party has to have a conversation about it. And I and maybe it's just me, but I kind of prefer, like, and this, maybe this is different between like an Eastern dev and a Western dev. But like when Western RPG makers you have a party, it's an option to go talk to them or hear their opinion on what's going on, right? You play Mass Effect, and then you can go into the basement of the ship and talk to Ashley about how she feels, or you could talk to Rex and Tali and Garrus down there, or you can just go to the next mission if you don't feel like doing that.
Yeah, you just go to the next mission.
Yeah, you don't get that option in Tales of Arise. You
Nope.
you gonna have the conversation.
You
Okay?
gotta persevere.
But the thing is that, like, after a while, when you get to know these characters' personalities, you know what they're gonna say. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't need to really hear what you. I know you don't like this. You don't like these people. You're you're kind of racist. Like there's parts where, like, you'll deal with a character that, you know,
It's, you're kind of racist.
you're kind of racist. Against these people. I know how you feel. I don't really want to talk to you about this. And it's just
Right.
like, but too bad, because they're going to inject their opinion in this conversation anyway. All right.
Yeah.
Yo, you're talking to somebody who loves cutscenes in games more than most, and they cutscened me into fatigue. Oh my god.
You said that's like Oblivion.
Oh, dude, let's just say when you get to the end, grab, and I wish I was exaggerating. When you start getting towards the end,
Oh
pop
man.
you some popcorn
Oh
and get
yeah.
you a drink.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I'm used to. Oh,
And
yeah. I'm used to that.
No, Forte,
I
no.
call.
no,
I
no,
played.
You do not
No, I
understand.
played.
Forte.
Not
Listen,
like
I
this.
played
don't.
Metal Gear
Not like
Solid
this.
4.
No,
I know what
no, Forte,
8
you don't
hours of
understand.
every.
You do
Okay,
not.
go ahead.
Puts Metal Gear Solid to shame.
Is it that bad?
Dude, you think you beat the game,
Oh,
and you
Lord.
were wrong. You got a
Bro.
good 6
Oh.
more hours to go. And
Yo,
4 of them will be cutscenes.
dude, he's not exaggerating, Forte. He's not exaggerating. SloMo, was that you that I sent those pictures to?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like
Okay,
it just
it was either you, or E. Shout out to Eric Jackson. It was one of you two. But I actually sent photos of my controller sitting next to my leg and a cutscene.
that wasn't me.
And
I
then
You
remember
should have
that.
did
like
you should have
and
did the
50 minutes
SpongeBob.
later,
Should have
50
did the
minutes
SpongeBob
later, I
meme.
sent
50 minutes later, it's still sitting there.
oh dude, like you have never seen
It's not a
this many
joke though.
cutscenes.
There is like a 45-minute like straight cutscene in that time frame too. It's just like, why is this still going? Why is this still happening? Like it's
That's
pretty
wild.
it's pretty bad. That's my only my one or two gripes with Tales of Arise. My second gripe is that it seems to me that Bandai Namco pulled a Ubisoft with this game, where it's like the game was altered or modified so that you kind of need to kind of get the microtransaction pack. You may
Oh,
have
I know. I
seen it.
remember you telling me about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like you'll be going through a dungeon and it's a pretty long dungeon and you'll be getting into fights and you're starting to kind of run low on the things you need to make it through. But if you have this like booster pack or whatever the heck it is in DLC, it makes that stuff easier. And like I really was like, man, I refuse to buy a booster pack I'm not doing that. And then, as I'm getting halfway through the game, I'm like, bro, am I gonna have to leave this dungeon to
He
get
said, "What? You get this booster pack?"
Yeah, I'm like, I ended up having to do it. And then next thing I know, I'm just buying everybody's swimsuits. I'm just like, shoot,
Oh
I've
yeah.
already spent the money. Why not? I'm buying all the
Yep, they
additional
got you.
costumes and everything. They got me. So just
I think they got Luca first, and then Luca got you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She showed me the outfits. I was like, oh,
I remember because I was
that's
Lucas said
pretty
I
good.
spent more on outfits than I did on the game.
Yeah, I didn't spend that much, but I bought a few. I bought a few. But it's still good RPG. I think you'll enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
it's a good JRPG. The combat's awesome. Really enjoyed the combat. So yeah. You guys ready to get into these rapid fire topics?
Yup.
Let's go.
Oh really? Oh really? Well, CDPR has come out and they haven't come out and really said anything, but people have seen some job announcements out there for one of the games that they are currently working on. This one is Project Hadar, which is actually their first ever original IP. So The Witcher, they didn't make if you're not aware, they didn't make The Witcher. The Witcher is a
Nope.
book. We discussed this, I think, last week on the podcast. Cyberpunk also is a tabletop RPG and a book that they also didn't make that, but they've just kind of adapted those IPs for a Western RPG, which they're pretty popular. And this next one though is going to be their own IP, their own game, and this one is something that they have has said an emotional open world experience that will stay with gamers. And so I found that pretty fascinating because with the way with the people that they've allocated towards this, it looks like it's not coming out. When I say no time soon, I mean like, bro, like nowhere near. Probably we're talking like 2030, like in the 2030s when this game comes out, because Witcher 4 will be first, and then Cyberpunk 2, and then they outsourced developers to help them with the remasters for the Witcher games. But like their main team being able to work on this game, it's going to be a long time before we get there. That said, I thought it was pretty fascinating that they're doing their own original IP, because I kind of feel like they probably can't get any other interesting, like, diamond in the rough IP that's not super popular right now, get people to sign on. And it's something that I actually wanted Ramon's opinion on this first, because you're a writer and you've written fantasy books and you've written stuff that is very similar in the vein of, like, say, like a Witcher 4, like the Witcher series and things like that. Knowing what the writer of The Witcher has said about the deal he made with CDPR, which he seems to be now that's gotten super popular, not very enthused with it. Kind of feels like he probably should have taken a better look at things. Maybe he would have got more out of it. Mike Pondsmith, who made Cyberpunk, doesn't seem to be too have a problem with anything. But that said, I think they intentionally went after niche IP that they could potentially have a good contract with the creator, so they could get a lion's share of things if it blows up. And with them doing their own original IP now, I wonder if there was no one else that was willing to give them a sweetheart deal in order to use their IP for a game. What do you think about that?
That's definitely a possibility. The I mean, it's common, it goes without saying that the less popular the IP, the better the price you get. And the sad part slash frustrating part is something that isn't as popular doesn't mean it's not nearly as good or orders of magnitude better than an IP of the same genre that's super popular. So it's just it's the way that works out. As far as the author of the Witcher books, being a little salty about the deal that he got, I mean, it's dependent on a number of things. I mean, how popular was the Witcher IP before CD Projekt Red got the rights to do it, versus the other IP that where they seem to be happy with their deal. The other thing is from the creator side of it that I would hope the Witcher author, I can't remember his name because he's Polish.
Yeah, I forgot his
um
name as
y-
well.
yeah, like the one thing for him to keep in mind, I hope he's keeping in mind, because he seems to be a little bit of a curmudgeon anyway, but those games are responsible for him attract getting more readers that may have never heard of him. I mean, I I am about 4 or 5 books into the Witcher series solely because I played the Wild Hunt. Well, like when it first came out, I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting," but I hadn't played it for a number of years after the Wild Hunt came out. And then I found out that it was based on the books,
Mm.
and so I had been planning. So I had wish listed the books way back then and hadn't gotten to them until recently. But so I mean, there's a halo effect with when it comes to optioning your IP like that. But yeah, the deal that he got is dependent upon the popularity of the IP.
Yeah.
So
So
I
so
mean,
so you're
it's just
saying that, like how CD Projekt Red used his IP to build a great game, a series of great games off of, because they did 3 games, working on a fourth. Um, Likewise, his books that weren't very popular before the game have had a measure of success that they would not have achieved if the game didn't exist. So they have helped each other in a way.
yeah. And to emphasize, I'm not sure if they weren't popular before, but they definitely helped his
I never heard
IP.
of them,
So
but like, and I'm into fantasy books, but I never heard of it. And I'm not saying that means they weren't popular. That doesn't mean that. But it does kind of mean, like, well, I mean, you weren't like blowing up at that time. Like, you weren't in the fantasy sphere of, what I mean, where it's like you're not Game of Thrones, a Song of Ice and Fire. You're not on that level. But at the time, but now, kind of close to that. Like people know the IP. That's what cross media is for. You know, like why does why? Okay, we're gonna talk about this later. There's an Until Dawn 2 now. Why is there an Until Dawn 2? It probably has something to do with the fact that PlayStation, because I hear people ask this question all the time. Probably has something to do with the fact
Sorry
that
about that.
PlayStation, no, you're good, has made a movie off the off the IP, has
And it gained new
remastered.
eyes.
Yeah, they gained new eyes to it. You know, the movie, I wouldn't say it was that good of a movie, but it did do um enough numbers to justify them continuing on. That remaster that they did bombed, but we're still getting an Until Dawn 2 game, likely due to the fact that the movie was profitable for them. So when it comes to cross media, not just about how it does in one arena, it's about how it does in all the different media outlets that you're putting it. Um, yeah, I do agree, kind of agree with you that like the books are likely more successful because of the game. Because you're gonna get people who are, and I've done this multiple times, play a game, find out it's based off of
Yep.
something else, and if I really
Look at that.
enjoyed that game enough, I get involved in what the other thing was because I wanna know more about the lore, the universe, or the side stories and whatnot, or find out, hey, look, the main character is a bit different in the books compared to the game. Well, all right, let me go ahead and see how different that is. What's that about? It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, that's a dream position to be in. That is a dream position to be in. I mean, you know, hypothetically speaking, if CDPR came to me for one of my series and, I only got a couple $100,000 for the IP and they went on to make $1 billion off of that
Oh,
franchise,
I'm a little
but
salty.
on my,
I'm
huh?
still a little I'm a little
Well,
salty about that.
I might be a little salty, but if the end result of that is I've
The
sold a
residual.
million copies of a book, a
Yep.
million copies of sales,
Plus residuals off of the game.
I'm phoning my job and being like, yeah,
But before say, what if
I'm
you
gonna
didn't
go
get
ahead and not.
residuals off the game? Or
You
maybe
said what?
I said, what if you're not getting residuals
Well,
off the
see, I'm
game?
not. Well, first of all, I'm not signing over anything unless I am getting residuals off the game.
Well, I don't know the full contract.
It depends on your negotiating. It depends on
That's what
your
I'm saying.
negotiating
Yeah.
power, though. But
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying is it depends on your negotiating power because if your series, like if they came to me, like if your books have only sold like say maybe a few thousand copies or like say 10,000 copies, which is pretty much not much,
Hmm.
and you're not you're they see how good the story is, but you don't make a lot of sales, you don't have as strong a position to bargain because your IP is not bringing sales power to their game. Their
But
game is bringing sales power to
yeah,
your IP.
exactly. But
So
they
you
are
don't
still
have
coming.
leverage.
But they are still. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
don't
don't
have.
have leverage.
But see, you have to create leverage when it comes to that because guess what? They came to you. Meaning they like your
That's true too.
story. Now, I'm not saying that, yeah, they still have all the power mostly because they're the ones with the check that's going to write everything. But in a situation where, because I'm never going to, like me personally, if I have to pick between a payday and residuals on something that I know has the potential to go somewhere, especially if it's going to a studio with the
Residuals
pedigree of,
every
see,
time.
yeah, I'm picking residuals all the time. I'm like, you could give me less money up front for it, and I want the residuals on the back end.
How about no money up front for a bigger percentage cut
Hey,
on?
I'm with that too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm with
I'll
at
take
that
no
point.
money up front as long as
Exactly.
I'm getting a significant
Yep,
cut
exactly.
of sales in perpetuity. So if you want to continue, if
All I
this
want,
contract is some kind of deal where because I think that he's, well, look,
all I would say
the
is
Witcher
the only
writer
thing if
did
I,
bad. He signed a bad deal. Just it
yeah,
is what it is. But that's on
I'm just
him.
saying, yeah,
He should
yeah,
have he
yeah.
should have
Because if
got
Well,
a
you're
that's
gonna,
that's
lawyer.
because he doesn't know anything about video games. And even when he was someone asked him about it, he was kind of derisive, if I remember
Right.
correctly. He was kind of
Mhm.
derisive about it because I think he even said, he's like, "You want this for a video game? All right, fine." And that's, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
yeah.
just gonna say it. That's a curmudgeon old boomer
The
who's just
moment
like,
they said
"Well,
video game, I'm
you
like,
want to
who's the
make this into
studio?
a Super Mario
Mhm.
Brothers?" You know what I mean? Like, but he didn't know anything about it, and he didn't take it seriously
Oh,
from
also
what I
at the
gathered.
time, CDPR was not known as like a big time developer. They were
Yeah,
a support studio developer. So even if he did some research on who CD Projekt Red was, he wasn't going to find anything that said, "Oh wow, like they're not they're not Rockstar today, but they're, they're definitely considered to be a bigger name than most developers, right?" But back then, before they did Witcher 1, they were nobodies.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
just,
then they didn't
yeah.
even the first game really let me keep it a buck.
This
That
is
first game sucks.
dang.
It's not a good game.
It it's
And
not a
then
it's not a great game. I will say that.
and
It's
then
fun, but it ain't great.
Witcher 2 was better, but the combat still was really convoluted, but the story was freaking fantastic. And then Witcher 3 is when it seemed like they were getting into it took them a while to mature as a developer. And then with Witcher 3, even though I still think the combat's a bit whatever, blah, everyone else loves it. And I will give it its respect. It's not about me. If the world universally says this is one of the best Western RPGs that were ever made, then so be it. But it took a while to get there. And in
Yeah.
taking a while to get there, sure, maybe in the beginning it didn't really make a lot of money. But now, oh yeah, like Witcher 3, I don't know how much Witcher 3 is sold, but whatever it is, that guy ain't getting nothing from it. And I can understand being upset about that. But I think to go back to the point of why I even brought this up, and maybe Forte, you could, speak to this as well. Do you
Yeah.
think that the idea of using smaller, lesser known IP to build off of now has kind of run its course for them? Not saying they're out there trying to swindle creators,
Mhm.
but there's only so many diamonds in the rough you can find
Right.
before you just run out of some content is just, lesser known content because it ain't that good, right? I think probably a
Right.
lot of it is. Now, Ramon, on the other hand, I think they should hit Ramon up because
I do too.
because Ramon got a series. I think they should be looking into.
I
Maybe
agree.
maybe
absolutely. Yeah.
some a vampire thing as well. I ain't gonna get into no details, but you know. That said,
Oh man.
it ain't too many
Yeah.
Ramones out here. It's some people out here who couldn't write a coherent sentence, and they think they got it made. They done wrote 12 book series that don't make any sense.
That's true.
That ain't worth making the game off of. It's just it's not. But it is what it is. I mean, what do you guys think about original IP? Also, here's another I think a great question about this. Can they do an original IP? Because iterating off of someone else's content is a bit easier than creating an whole new universe with whole new characters. You don't have lore to build off of. Like Cyberpunk has an entire like history
Mhm.
that you could go on YouTube and see a 3-hour video detailing the entire Cyberpunk history. And they had it easy picking V to be their main character in the game.
Yeah.
That's different. This is different when you got to create the universe yourself. You got to create the lore. You got to create the systems that work and how they work and making it make sense and create compelling characters and have those characters have a compelling backstory. Like I said, everybody ain't Ramon Terrell. so
Everybody ain't remote for real.
so can you do that when because it's been easier when you've got Geralt as your main character who's
Geralt of
got
Rivia.
Yeah, like, who's already been set
Say
up,
his name
and
with respect.
I don't care. And and Jennifer and
Yennefer.
whatever her name
He
Yennefer,
said
not
is,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
and
Yennefer, man.
and
What the
and
heck?
and
You
Trixie
hating right now.
and Trixie, right? You got all
Yeah,
Wild.
these great
you was hating,
characters.
bro.
I'm not
Oh
hating. Well, I
man,
said the names wrong.
disrespect.
I said
Yeah.
the
Oh
name.
my
Yeah,
god.
Oh, but I
what you
know. I'm
say?
sorry. I'm sorry.
Disrespect.
I didn't mean it.
Like,
I didn't mean it.
man,
But I'm just
thou
saying.
shall strike you down, down. Jesus Christ, bro.
I'm just
I
saying.
will. I will say
Go ahead.
this. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I will say this. It's a good progression, and adapting an established IP comes with a its own set of skills. Um, in a lot of ways, your attention to detail might even have to be equal to, or in some cases higher. Like it can be more stressful to adapt an IP, because especially if you have an IP that has a really devoted fan base,
Mm,
because
I
they
agree.
know the intricacies in and out. You have to keep continuity with the story. Like there are authors who write in a shared world, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll the creator of that world, or whatever company manages that world, will say, hey, here's your little corner of this universe, or your little corner of this world. These are the major overarching events that happen, so you have to write within those events and constraints. But what it does is it makes it easier for the author to write in that world without having to be aware of every single thing that happens.
Mhm.
You look at when Brandon Sanderson finished off the Wheel of Time. That I would not want to undertake that. I would not have. I mean, if they'd offered me the money, then I would have pretty much locked myself in a cave to do it. But one, you already have to be a mega fan of the story. There's no way you can do it without having to spend years researching if you're not already into it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep continuity with events in the story. So bringing it back to The Witcher, they have to keep continuity with the events that happen in the story. They have to keep the voice of the characters. And now you're sitting down saying, okay, Geralt wouldn't do that. Geralt wouldn't say that way. Man, yeah, Yennefer wouldn't behave that way. She wouldn't do this. And you have to keep that voice and that continuity of the characters, the world, the events, and everything else. And it's to a degree easier when you've created everything, because you already have a familiarity with it, versus going in and trying to keep someone else's lore straight and then blend your voice to theirs to tell a story, and to voice a character that was created by somebody else. it's
Yeah.
it's its own set of skills.
Yeah, I hear you on that. But I think that's also the benefit of obscure IP, because you don't have to deal with the dedicated fan base that says, "Oh, wait, that's not right." I mean, look at like Halo, the Halo TV show, which was garbage,
Oh my
but on its
Oh
own,
my
all
God.
by itself, it was garbage. But they wanted to
By
do the silver
myself.
universe, right, so that they could have their own creative freedom of garbage within the Halo universe to go with. And me, as you can hear, me calling it garbage over and over again. There's a reason for that, because I didn't like it because it was different than what. Well, I mean, partly because it was different. Other parts it was garbage, but um, it was very different than what Halo actually is. And fans of the series don't appreciate that. I've actually, over the past week, I think I've ran into 2 Cyberpunk fans who do not like Cyberpunk 2077, and they don't like it because they felt like CDPR didn't do the IP justice. Now, one of them, actually, I would say both of them were a little out of their mind on things, but they are free to feel how they feel, and I'm not dismissing their opinions. But one of them, fellas, check this out. One of them was like, it doesn't make sense that it's 50 years in the future and music hasn't changed.
What?
Bear with me.
Wow.
Because in the Cyberpunk game, you get hip hop, you get rock music, you get heavy metal, you get electronic and pop and all this other stuff, right? And it's literally the genres that we have now. It sounds like the music that we have now. Even the band Samurai, that is very prominent in the game, sounds like a rock band that you would hear today. And I sat there and I said to him, "Yo, you really expected them to invent new musical genres for this game?" I'm not saying he's wrong. He's right. 50 years from now, the music should sound different. But how, Forte, how do you feel about today's hip hop?
I hate it.
Hate it.
Yuck.
Ramon, how do you feel about today's music?
Yuck.
Right.
There's a reason that Michael Jackson has literally been playing him on my in my radio ever since the movie came out, mostly because music
doesn't make
nowadays does not. It's not that it's bad.
No, it's bad.
I'll never say
No,
well,
say
well
it's bad.
okay. Well, it's not for me. It's not. It's just like what it's just like how our parents like. How can you listen to that?
Mhm.
I'm like that now, but I
To a
even know.
degree, yeah, but these fools be
But there's
mumbling.
a thing.
Come
Even
on.
my mother that used to say the stuff that we were listening to when we were younger, she was like, "What are y'all listening to?"
My grandparents and my mom the same way.
And it was mostly due to just the violence and the words and all the swearing and stuff. Now it's like, I asked my mom, I said, "What do you think of this music, Mom?" She said, "This ain't music."
Yeah. So the point is that, like, what's the purpose of going through the effort of inventing new genres of music in order for it to be authentic to the year 2077 if no one's going to like it?
Because no one's gonna like it. Yeah, that's
See,
true.
what that is a purist who already doesn't like it, and once they don't like it, now they get into you fall into nitpicking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking smack about this person, but it's easy to, when you don't like something, you fall into nitpicking, and you pick at every little thing. And here's the problem with that. Talking about the music and everything, every work of fiction, especially when you get into genre fiction, if you're going to get down to the granular level, we wouldn't have it, because the things that happen are impossible. We have dragons in fantasy that defy physics. An animal the size of a dragon, no matter what its wingspan, would never get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
In
It's not light enough.
cyberpunk, you have these people
Game of
with
Thrones
these,
says
right?
differently.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why raptors, their bones are hollow, and they only get so big. If you look at eagles and the liftoff for eagles, look at what it takes for them to lift off for eagles versus a sparrow.
Massive
Yeah.
Yeah, and then look at their liftoff. They have to, kind of not get a running start.
Oh, a
but you know what I
sparrow
mean. They gotta-
literally darts through the
a
sky.
sparrow
Right.
just picks up. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
pick up and go.
But
Right.
Ramon, I think you're right though, because I think it really is just someone who has created a nitpick off of something that they do not like. And I think that happens a lot. And I'm gonna bring up some of that other stuff when we talk about the state of play a little bit later. But
Uh-oh.
yeah, I think that is a thing where people just, I don't like this thing. I don't want to like it. Let me find something that is a accurate thing that I'm a view as a negative, and I'm going to blow it up to a degree to make it seem more of a bigger deal than it really is. The other person just wasn't paying attention to the story and completely misinterpreted the cyberpunk story, and I helped them
Mhm.
get to the point of like, no, that's not what happened. Johnny Silverhand's memories are not accurate. And that blew their mind. I still don't think they're going to give the game a fair shake, but at least they are not out there speaking something that's not true about the game. But no, I do think when you in the cyberpunk fan base, very, very passionate people. but before this game
Yeah.
came out, wasn't a big fan base. Now they got animes, they're getting live action content on Netflix too. They're getting all this stuff that would not have existed if the game didn't exist. And so they don't really
Yeah.
care that the game is getting its just due. I mean, sorry, the IP is getting its just due, and more people are loving it. I do kind of wonder if it's just more of like people like it being obscure. You know what I mean?
A
Like
lot of
they,
people are like that. A lot of people are like that.
yeah,
Whereas this
they
is
just
our thing, not
yes,
yours.
yeah, it's our
This is our
thing.
club.
So when everyone else likes it, now you're like, they call people the term a tourist is gets misused. They're really calling new
Facts.
fans tourists when they're not tourists. They just
We were there from
got
the
into
beginning, before you were.
the whole I was here before it was a game, and so I'm a better fan than you. But that's just weird, bro. But I mean, we get to I guess CDPR can avoid that as well with the original IP. You can avoid because you're creating all the lore.
Honestly, yeah, you have to wonder how big that loud vocal fan base is anyway. I mean, look how much money CDPR and the author of the Witcher books and the creator of Cyberpunk, look how much money they done all made.
Mhm.
Whether it's the author who got a bad deal, but his books are selling better than they ever were before,
Mhm.
from Poland all the way across the pond to the US and Canada and all these other countries, to the Cyberpunk creator who got a good deal, possibly residuals, yada yada yada. And people are screaming about, oh, it's this, it's that, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, but they're doing quite well for themselves. So I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, they definitely would avoid having that headache, because that's at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's a freaking headache when you have people buzzing your ear about how you didn't do everything down to the granular level properly. So yeah,
Yeah, I could
it's
not
definitely
believe
a
the
lesson.
guy was like, they didn't create new musical genres. I was just like, if you could create a new musical genre that was good, you should not be putting that in a video game. You should be
Exactly.
you should be putting that
Exactly.
music out there to make even more money in whatever. Like, come on. All
And
right,
not only that, how long did that game take to make?
they
And they
first
were
showed it in like 2012. Now, they weren't
2012.
they weren't really working on it. They kinda changed up their development pipeline. Now they got more people and they
Yeah.
work on multiple games at once, but they're still gonna have the bulk of their studio working on one game at a time. So they really didn't start working on Cyberpunk until like 2017, like when they were officially really done with all the Witcher content, but
Yeah.
the Witcher 3 content. But still, like
Creating a genre of music would have tacked on a little bit of time.
right,
Let's just
right, right. And the music's very influential in the game. Like, there's just no way to do something like that and have it come out in any reasonable amount of time. But we can move on. I didn't want to get on this topic for too long. You guys ready for the next one?
let's
Oh,
go.
really?
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really? Oh, really?
Impulse is coming out sometime this year. Impulse is being developed by 1047 Games, who make the Splitgate games. We've discussed this on the show a few times already. They came out with a teaser trailer showing off just like a cutscene and like some minor gameplay elements. I don't know if any of this is actual gameplay. I doubt any of it actually is. But they will do a gameplay reveal at the PC Gaming Show this Sunday. And so I don't know the exact time of that. I imagine it's likely going to be after the Xbox showcase because they wouldn't have it at the same time. So maybe sometime in the late afternoon, early evening time on if you're on the East Coast, that is. Um, I don't know if I can say any more about this.
I don't know if I can speak more.
There is some playtest going on. I'll just say that. And some people that you may know may be a part of those playtests. And so, yeah.
Oh,
But can't
it's a
really say.
multiplayer game. I already know who.
Yeah, sure. Um, but What do you guys anticipate? Well, how big do you think this game can really get? Forte, you're a little bit more of a multiplayer shooter guy than
Uh-huh.
not even a little bit. You're way more of a multiplayer shooter guy than Ramon is. So, I think you are the target demographic for this kind of game. What is your excitement for this?
Uh, honestly, I am still. I'm like completely burnt out on games like this. Literally, I just
Oh,
don't. I am, bro. I just it's something that is a reason that I went back and started playing a lot of Battlefield just because I wanted more of a predictable environment, you know, more structure. Now, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can still happen in the battle in the world and stuff itself, but the factors of um more these type games like these games as a service and stuff that are more like of the traversal style
mhm.
is I think the most I want to do is what I was doing in Destiny at this point. Running around, sliding, and that was only because I got so used to it because I played it for so long.
So
I don't
the
even
verticality of this is something that you're not. So when they called it a movement first person shooter, that was like a turn off for you.
Yeah, because that's what I would play. Like you said, that I was the target demographic of this game 5 years ago in
Mm,
my eyes because it's just for me. I just want, like I said, it's just about predictability at this point, and yeah, a person that plays the games like this is it's because you like the challenge of the vertical aspect of it. I used to love the vertical aspect of games and stuff because it's like it's like your situational awareness had to be even more at a higher tilt. And then it was just like the adrenaline rush you would get from running around a corner, popping somebody coming through a door, turning around, catching somebody coming down the hallway, and then still having to have your wherewithal to like clear a room. And then as you walk out that door, you're looking forward, but you're also looking up at the rooftops and stuff like that too. So it's not that I don't think it would work. I just think that especially with the where we are with games now, I feel like we've been in this fast pace or arena for a long time now, and I just want to slow down at this point. And
mm,
that might be part of the reason why me and Call of Duty don't get along as much as we used to get along, because that is like a very, very fast paced game. The verticality is not really a thing in that, but it's so fast that it's like, unless you're willing, like you say, learn all of the tricks of the trade to be able to, not only and I'm one of those people that I want to improve, but I have to be in a good mood and I have to like the game enough to improve. And I think that's
it's
where it
important.
kind of starts. I think that's where it starts and begins. And then I also think it comes down to a a lot of people don't really think about it like this, but the impression of the game that you get from it when you first start it means a lot. It's like if you're jiving with the studio or you're jiving with the story that they're showing or things like that, you're more in that to basically say, I'm gonna give this my all. I'm gonna really, really try to stick it out with this game and see what it's all about. You know, it's just like I said with Battlefield. I know that servers were going to be bad for a while, but I love the game so much that didn't matter. I was playing broken versions of Battlefield 4 why it was broken the whole time, and that didn't matter to me. I mean, I still complained about it, but I still enjoyed it, so I persevered through it.
Mm,
And that was the same thing with Halo, same thing with Destiny. When I complained about Destiny every day, I still went back and played it because it was something that was compelling about it that made. So I'm gonna try the game. I definitely want to get into the early access to see exactly what it is, because it's just from the outside looking in of just what they're showing. It just reminds me of every other game that's out there that's trying to like make a name for itself in this fast-paced genre that we call shooters and games of a service. But I'm gonna give it a try because I'm definitely gonna want to play it with you because I know you're gonna definitely give it a go. And if a game like this is ever gonna have a chance, it's gonna be based on the people you play it with. Sure, you're gonna have people that's gonna love the game and play it consistently by themselves, but it's gonna shine when you're playing with other people and stuff. And I think that's where the merits of a lot of these games really, really stand for. Because if you enjoy it with your friends, it's a good chance that you could play it by yourself and enjoy it too. So it's on the radar. I'm just one of those people that's just like, I don't know, but I'm not gonna write it off until I get a chance to play it.
Got you. Ramon, any thoughts, any interest on your side?
Nah, not really. I mean,
Revolt, like, nah.
I
mean,
expected that response, but I felt
yeah.
it was to give you the opportunity to say it.
They would literally have to sprinkle that Titanfall magic just as special to get me in. So I wish them luck. I hope it's successful. I hope it's fun for people who enjoy those type of games. But unless I see
Man.
something really,
That Titanfall
out
magic, man.
I don't know if anybody can capture that anytime soon.
True, very true. We can get into the next one, man.
Oh, really?
So Asus at the what do they call the thing that's in Taiwan?
It's not CES. What is it?
No, it's not. It's what is it called? I forgot. There's a big event going in Taiwan that's annually done there, and they show new technology. And Asus was there, and they announced the new Xbox Ally X PC handheld with an OLED display. This new,
Knew that was coming.
of course, right? This new model they're calling the Xbox. I mean, how many words are in this? The Xbox ROG Ally X20.
The ROG X for you.
Yeah, right. This new model, the new X20 model has TMR thumbsticks, removable D-pads. You can change out the D-pad from like the circular one to a more traditional D-pad if you want. It has a slightly bigger screen. The previous Xbox Ally and Ally X has a 7-inch screen. This one's 7.4 inches. So it's just a little bit bigger. And a new button they call it the action button that can be by default. I think it's kind of like a push to talk thing. So like if you wanted to say like if you're playing a video game or that like Fortnite or Call of Duty and you wanted to talk to other people, you hit the button. Now your microphone is active. But that could be remapped to something else.
Chopper just said it's called Computex. Sorry to cut you off, but
Chopper just said it's called. Thank you, Chopper. Computex. I don't know why that completely left my brain. I've been literally looking at all the stuff from Computex all week. So my bad, Computex. But yeah, that action button is remappable. It could be changed to anything you want it to be. You just gotta, change it. And but unfortunately, the price came out. So everyone was pretty excited about this thing until they showed the price.
The price killed
them. Oh boy, this thing is $2,400 American.
Smoking.
And it's $2,400 because they are bundling it with some AR glasses.
Oh my god!
So even if you already got like a good pair of AR glasses, you have no choice but to get some more AR glasses if you want this PC handheld, which to me says Asus need to get rid of some AR glasses that weren't selling, and they decided to bundle it with this thing.
That's what they did.
Yo, Forte.
Yo,
is this thing going to move any units? What you think?
What? Okay, so when you say is it going to move any units, are we talking about in a significant fashion? because it's gonna move units.
Or in
It's
theory.
gonna be. It's gonna sell some. It's gonna sell to the
Let's
the ultra rich and finest, but the people that have half a brain cell and I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that because
No,
got
speak your mind.
just because
Speak
you
your
got a
mind.
lot of money,
You
just
said
because you
half a
got a
brain
lot of
cell.
money,
Hey.
yeah, just because you got a lot of money and you're willing to spend it on stuff like this doesn't mean you don't have half a brain
Hey,
cell. It
hey,
just
hey,
means
hey,
you got too
Forte.
much money. It just means you
Forte.
got too much money and
What
you
if
ain't got nothing to do with it.
what if you ain't got no AR glasses? What if you want the bun? You want this? You want some AR glasses, and you want this? You know,
You
PC handheld. That's. I mean,
no, this
yeah, I
no.
can't. I'm
Can
trying.
you
I'm
give me
trying.
the headset? Can I get the handheld without the AR glasses? Can the
I think
bundle be
of. I'll say
separated?
this. Eventually, I do think eventually they will sell it separately from the AR glasses bundle. But
They
as
just
of
want to get rid of all
now,
the they
yeah,
want
I
to get
just
rid of
think
all those AR
they
glasses.
trying to move them AR
They try
glasses
to
out, yo.
liquidate.
They trying to get rid of them
Yeah,
things.
they must have a whole lot of connects. I mean, AR glasses sitting around.
I'm good, bro. You ain't about to get me.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely
Connect
gonna
all
sell.
over.
It's definitely gonna sell because there's gonna be a subset of people out there that want the latest and the greatest. Um, is it going to now we don't know what the overall numbers are going to be that they're going to produce of these. I mean, at $2,400, you're not probably going to produce a lot. It's probably going to be you'll probably hear it sell out quick because they only made like 2,000 of them, maybe 200. I don't know,
And
dude.
that's it. That's it. That's appropriate, like
Yeah,
appropriate inventory. Like if you
or something like this.
understand what you're making and you understand it's really expensive and just basic economics says the higher the price, the lower the demand, right? So
Lord
like
of the man.
the lower the amount of people are going to be willing to spend money for that item, regardless of how enticing that item is, if the price point's too high. So if you're pricing at 2,400, I don't know how many AR glasses you got, but you probably try and just you try if you got 15,000 AR glasses, you trying to move or 20,000, maybe that's how many of
Is how many of these
these
you gonna make in a bundle?
X20s you making, and then once you get them out, then you put out there, here's the X20 unbundled, and it's $1,600.
Or here's the X20 unbundled with a OLED screen on it for 18.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
They go,
very, very odd to do that, to bundle it like that. But I do think that eventually they'll sell it without it. And maybe, maybe you'll kind of trick some people. So there are a few people in the chat that were interested in getting this, right? But they're not interested in getting it at $2,400.
yeah, they
So
got a brain cell.
yeah, well, these are the sharpshooters. They sharp. They always, they smart people.
They got
That
brain
said,
cells, right?
that said, what if the long-term play here, you know how like you shock someone with a price tag and then later on you make it lower, but the
The
second
price that you
price
really
is,
want.
yeah, the second price really ain't that good a price either, but at least it's cheaper than the first price you
For the
gave.
first price you
And then
gave.
maybe you get some people to go for it because it's like quote unquote on sale now, or quote unquote cheaper now. It is cheaper. That's not those. It is cheaper, but it's
It's
still not
definitely
a good
cheaper.
deal. I don't think you should spend this much money on the PC handheld. That said, I'm not a big PC handheld guy. I have a Steam Deck OLED, but I got that way before the price got crazy. I got that when it was like 600, I think. So I just wonder if potentially you may get some people who go, I want that. What happens? I'll check in when that bundle is gone. And then say, I don't know, September, they announce the X20 without the bundle and it's $15.99. Someone goes sold. Okay, I'll get it there. I don't know.
That's still
It's still too much for me.
That's
But
still crazy amount of money.
like
yeah. No,
How
go ahead.
that
much?
US prices. more than what I spent in Canadian dollars to build my PC.
Mm.
Yeah, good,
With my
bro.
4080 Super, not my 4070 that I initially bought. Building my 4080 Super in Canadian dollars is less than what that thing is selling for right now. That is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Shout out
Telling you.
to Machine XP in the chat. He says, I don't think they got many units because these are 20-year anniversary devices for Asus. They got gold accents on them. They got a special mouse and other stuff too. Okay, all right. So maybe that is the case. Maybe this is like we're not making a ton of these anyway, but since we're going
Making
all
7 of
out,
them.
we're going to 7. It's a
7 of these
20-year
things.
anniversary, and we're gonna make 20, right? So, um, they're making a small number, and so but they're putting all this stuff into it. They want it to make it worth their while or something. I mean, but it is using the same exact chip as the ROG the ROG Xbox Ally X. It's not. Isn't like a overclocked chip or anything like that. It's the same exact chip. So it's just really like better thumbsticks, TMR sticks, a bigger screen, little things like that are better, but nothing extravagant. And again, the regular X is $1,000. So look, if you were looking for a PC handheld that's Windows based, or you one of those people that don't mind tinkering and you're gonna throw Windows off that thing and put Steam OS on it so that it runs more efficiently. Yo, if you got the money, just get the regular ROG Xbox Ally X. That's $1,000. That's
But I
less
can't
than
I can't
half this
but
price.
but I can't talk my junk because I ain't got the latest and the greatest.
Well, there is that.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's
Mr. Jones over there has the ally with the Connect. I mean the
The Connect.
with the glasses.
right.
Might as well call it a
I
Connect.
can. Yeah,
I can't, bro. That's as soon as you said
yeah,
the
they
price
can
of
have
that,
that.
I was out.
I mean, I had no interest to begin with, but that just
Oh,
man,
bro, that costs more than my dedicated graphics card for my PC.
that's
Mm-mm-mm.
just crazy.
Well, we can go ahead and move on to unless you guys got anything else you want to say on
No,
this.
no, I
Nope.
feel wrong talking about that.
Oh, really?
They should be ashamed of themselves.
So, I don't know if you guys heard this, but maybe you want to sit down. Fable has been delayed to February 2027.
Oh, exactly what I said. Let's go.
They say it's to make sure Fable has its own release window and it's time to shine. I say
They
it's
actually said that?
yes. I say it's because
Oh,
they're trying to avoid Grand Theft Auto
yeah,
6, which
absolutely.
literally everyone else is, and we're going to discuss that looking at that state of play because good grief, September is going to be a bloodbath. Okay,
Mm.
it's going to be rough. But that said, Fable's been delayed to February. Um, if they, I'll say this real quick, and then Ramon, I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm fine with this because more than likely, based off what I saw, I mean, the game looked good when they showed gameplay a few months ago, but the little things like the sassy walk for the male character, the a little hit things here and there. What the things that they're doing in the city, where they got like really advanced scripting for all the NPCs, just regular town folk have their whole day like scheduled out and scripted out. That's gonna be really difficult to nail, to execute that, and I'm not saying Playground can't get it done, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is if you need more time, give them more time, because, I think it was Miyamoto who said, a delayed game can still be good, but a bad game is bad forever." When he said that, we weren't getting incomplete games that get updates frequently, but that said, you want this game to kind of get a good running start when it launches. So if that means delaying it so that more people are interested in it after they get Grand Theft Auto out of their system for a little bit, so be it. I'm cool with that.
Mhm.
Ramon, what do you think?
Well, at this point, September is just as dangerous as November. I mean, November is dangerous for obvious reasons. The GTA, like the blast radius to that is like a month on either side. But September, in my opinion, is just as dangerous because not only is it crowded, but it is crowded with, like, I mean, you might as well call them certified bangers. I mean, instead of one like mammoth, you have like 20 elephants. You know what I mean? Like the result is the same. You're gonna get trampled either by a gigantic mammoth or by 20 elephants. You're still getting trampled. So I think it was a smart move to just get out of the whole autumn blast radius anyway, because it's just either too many games or one mega game. What you said on the technical side of it, I agree 100%. I mean, the systems that they're implementing and all of this stuff is complex. And if they need that extra time, man, I mean, anybody who would get upset over a delay, especially with a game this complex and everything that they're trying to do, it's like, man, be reasonable, man. I mean, these games are not like freaking side scrollers where you run and jump and then, it has two buttons that you use. Like, these games are incredibly complex and people are gamers are patient. I mean, they're, the by and large gamers are patient, but at the same time, gamers are also used to being taken for a ride so much. It's, especially on the PC side, getting taken for a ride where you buy a game and then, sometimes games are like borderline broken and then they're abandoned. You know what I mean? And then they just stop releasing updates. So, we want these games, they're expensive as it is, and we want them to be in, good serviceable working order and what it's been advertised. If they need that extra time, man, give it to them. And yeah, that sassy walk for the dude, I don't know if that was just, they hadn't finished working out, the differentiations between them. No shade, if dude, that's the way dude walks, that's the way he walks. I plan to probably make my character female anyway, because if ever given a choice, I typically go with a woman anyway. But yeah, they probably could tweak that too. But yeah, I'm wholeheartedly behind the choice to delay it. Plus, it's in my birthday month too. So I mean, between Tomb Raider being 2 days after my birthday and then this one a couple weeks after, works for me.
Yeah, Forte, what are your thoughts?
I remember saying if this game isn't announced to come out in September, it's not coming out until next year in the first quarter. It's like we kept talking about what games could slot into any spot. Yeah, I definitely want them to take their time. I want them to make sure that this game arrives feature complete and ready for prime time because they need it to be. I think this is going to be the first game that comes out that is going to stand up to all of the different decisions that Microsoft is going to make in the future going forward. Because I know that the overall player base will be there to support it because a lot of people are super excited for this game. I do believe that this game can definitely move the needle. Not in a meaningful way when it comes to Game Pass, but I think it won't just be a blip on the radar by getting a high quality game like this in there. And they want to make sure that they give this game the widest berth that they could possibly give it away from other bigger games and stuff. So I always thought it was going to come out in the first quarter, like February, March of next year, because we've seen a bunch of really high profile games do it. We saw Claire Skier do it. We saw Elden Ring do it. It's like a really, really good month or quarter to release games in. It's during the time during tax season where people are recovering from the holidays. They got some little extra money, and that's a good place to put your game because now we don't know if anybody else is gonna announce anything, but we know it ain't gonna be nothing as big as Grand Theft Auto. So
Yeah.
that's probably the best decision you can make for yourself. I just want them to make sure that everything in the game is complete, because the worst thing you could do is delay it and then still not be ready when it comes out on that day. So, because I think a lot of people are going to be really, really judging them off that. So, use this time to basically make sure all that stuff is good. I think everybody underneath the surface understands why this is happening. You don't even have to tell us. But just make sure it's where it needs to be, and that's what I think.
Hey, real quick, and this is kind of like a little side topic in the topic, but
Okay.
I looked up all the games that are currently coming out in September this year.
Man,
September's crazy.
Yo,
Everybody.
by the way,
crazy.
this is somewhat incomplete because we haven't got the Summer Game Fest that starts tomorrow.
Oh my god!
And so there are
And
gonna
the
be more
Xbox
games
show.
announced. We got Future Game Show on Saturday, more games. We got the Xbox show. So
The indie show on Monday too.
yeah, so I think I think it's going to get pretty rough, and this is somewhat incomplete already. So essentially, you got like those former CDPR devs, Rebel Wolves, their game The Blood of Dawn Walker is September 3rd. There's a Halloween game, Halloween the game, like the whole survival horror thing, September 8th. Wolverine is September 15th. Trails in the Sky second chapter, September 17th. New Warhammer game is September 17th as well. Lego Batman Legacy on the Switch too. So Lego Batman goes to
Yeah.
Switch 2 on the 18th. Control Resonant, September 24th. Silent Hill on the same freaking day. Hell is Us on the same or for the Switch 2 on the same day. Onimusha is the day later, and then Ace Combat 8 is on the 28th.
Oh my god!
Oh, and then you got
That is-
Phantom Blade. Well, Phantom Blade Zero
got pushed out.
got pushed out to October. So it's it'll be a bloodbath, man. Cause like so there's gonna be some games there that people may be interested in, but there's another game that they are more interested in, and they're gonna choose that other game instead of some of these games, and the sales aren't gonna be great. So I don't know, like maybe it shouldn't have. Maybe so many games shouldn't have moved away from GTA. Because if GTA is the only game that releases in November, well, what if it's GTA in your game?
Exactly. Like it
And
just
you release before GTA does. Maybe you actually get more eyes on you and you have a better chance than you do in September or October. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well,
depending on the size of the game, you
But
really
we ain't
just
gonna
need
risk
like
our
a
game
2
on it though. That's what they saying. We ain't risking our game to find out.
The risk is the same though. In September, the risk is more or less the same.
Yeah, but you feel like you can beat those other games. You know what's gonna happen in November.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the thinking, but when your game is a banger, but you're literally surrounded by 5, 6, 7 other bangers, they no one of them is GTA. If GTA weighs 500 pounds, these other 8 games all combined weigh 500 pounds. So
Yeah,
it's
you right.
like it's at this point, if you're in September, you're doing the same thing as if you're in November.
Yeah, you spitting, bro. I agree. But guess what? I'm still not bringing my game out in November. I'm still not doing it. Because guess what? Because this is the thing. Everybody's going to say if you bring your game out in November, and we already know it's not going to do it won't do good compared to other games, and then everybody's gonna be, and then when you put out sales numbers, people are gonna be like, oh, they're stupid, don't know why you did that. That's just like perfect example. That's just like when Call of Duty, when Battlefield came out in between Call of Duty and Titanfall 2. Like, I mean, when Titanfall came out between Call of Duty and Battlefield, what did you think was gonna happen? The only reason people even know really about Titanfall 2 is because that single player is freaking incredible. Can you imagine if they would have gave that game a wide berth and did what they did with Battlefield,
We'd have
like
a
what they did with
Titanfall
the
3.
bro? Titanfall
We'd have a
1, the first
Titanfall 3.
Titanfall released in May. Can you imagine if they were to release that during like the spring or the early, like late winter in like March of the next year when it had its own window? I think that game, people would, it's crazy that people still talk about that game just off of the strength of the single player. Can you imagine if it had its own time to shine? How many more people would be talking about it? And that's like kind of the bad side. You go out there and say, we ain't afraid. We ain't afraid of Battlefield. We ain't afraid of Call of Duty. And guess what? F around and find out. And that's unfortunately what happened. And if they release this game and anybody release their game around Grand Theft Auto, oh, that's cute. I don't want to do this to you. I mean, but the people are going to do it to you because they're going to pick us over you. And it's just an unfortunate situation. And then if you put your games in a window like September, a month and a half to 2 months before Grand Theft comes out, you're hoping that your game is better than the rest of them. Or you're just really looking to get a piece of the pie because you already know 90% of the pie is going to get eaten up in November by one thing. Why not try to carve out your little 12%? Your little, I'll feel better about my 12% amongst 50 other games than losing and only getting 3% versus the behemoth out there. And you're forgetting about Call of Duty. It's as much as and Call of Duty it's coming out 2 weeks normally than it normally does because it's coming out October 23rd this year.
Yeah.
That's literally 2 whole weeks before they normally come out. So you got the number one selling game consistently of the year, with the exception of the Hogwarts Legacy year, coming out at the end of the year. Pair that with Grand Theft Auto. Tell me where the sales for anything else is going to exist.
And
So,
to add on to what you're saying, Forte, out of all of the studios dropping games in September, there's one studio that I feel the most dread in the pit of my stomach for because I want so much more for them, and I feel like they just, for whatever reason, just don't get their due. Remedy.
oh
Remedy
yeah,
deserves
Yeah, I agree.
so much more success for their games, and they are launching in a month with Onimusha, a beloved IP that is returning,
yep.
Wolverine, who is arguably possibly the second most popular Marvel character, done by Insomniac. And well, yeah, I know we're going to get into that. And then all those other games that you listed off, SloMo, like I just, if
The
there's
que-
any way possible they could just bump it, just pull it up to August. Even if they pull it up to August 2 weeks before, just get it out of September, man. They just give the game a better
so
chance. Like,
so
and I know
so
they can't
yeah.
predict, but you can't
Yeah, we're
predict
gonna
whatever people do.
and we're gonna move on, but I do want to ask you guys both this question because it is gonna happen. There will be 1 or 2 games that will do it. Either move up or move out. What
Oh,
game that is announced right now for a date in September or October over the next couple of months will not be coming out during those months? What is that one game that everybody can name? Anybody can name? What do you think it will be? Because somebody's
I'm
going to do
saying
it.
I'm saying control out of wishful thinking. I'm hoping they pull it forward and drop it in maybe in August, because if crossing outside of September on the other side is dangerous. October isn't super busy, well, yet, because slow you just like you said, SloMo. I mean, it's an
Yeah, yeah,
incomplete list,
right.
but October is potentially dangerous, and then we don't even have to talk about November, and then games they typically avoid December. So their best bet, if they can go gold like in July or something, if they can pull it forward
Yeah.
August, that I think they would give themselves a much better chance at success than trying to fight in the arena with all these other games.
Fight in the phone booth. What do you think, SloMo? What's your game?
I think it's probably going to be. You know what? I agree with you about control. I think control is going to be one that if any one of them moves, control moves. Remedy games don't sell that great to begin with, and it's not because they're not
Mhm.
good games. They are good games. They just for some reason they just never seem to really resonate with a ton of people. They never have a game that's blown up. Control did great, but and it was profitable for them, but it never charted at all, ever. So you're making a sequel off of that. This one seems to be a little bit more fast paced, action oriented, and a little bit more juice to it than say Control did. And you're building off of a successful game, so maybe you'll get a little bit more eyes on it. But getting kind of screwed over with your release window. It's literally in the same week that you release like 5 other games releasing at the same time.
Yeah.
And some of those other games may be a bit, more popular demo than what you currently have. I think maybe going in October might be better. Not saying go in November, but delay it a couple of weeks. You can still come out before Call of Duty. And there's still, there's a significant number of people who don't play Call of Duty. There's
Yeah.
also a significant number of people who are not going to play Grand Theft Auto. So, it's still Grand Theft Auto is probably going to break every record possible when it comes out. But
Grand Theft Auto is going to sell 100 million copies.
I can see a lot of the people that don't play Grand Theft Auto would be the kind of people who are interested in playing Control. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that would
I'd
be
be one of
mine.
them because I'm not going to play it till it comes to PC. So I would definitely be one of those people that would
Oh
grab
man,
it.
you gonna stand on the hill? You gonna stand on
I'm
that
gonna,
hill
I'm gonna,
let
I'm gonna
let
stand
a
there.
whole year go by with all this? I don't know. I
Dude,
can't do it.
I'm already feeling some kind of way when I see the PlayStation exclusive saying captured on the PS5 Pro, and I got the vanilla PS5, so I'm already feeling some kind of way
No,
with
don't feel
that.
bad about that. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them trick
No,
you,
they
bro.
ain't.
Your PS5 that you own is gonna do perfectly fine with that game, bro. Don't
Oh yeah,
don't let
I'm sure it will.
don't let them FOMO you into a $900 box, bro.
Oh no, no, absolutely not. Absolutely. If I ever had any intention on getting that, I would have did it at launch.
Exactly,
So no,
dog.
I'm not. Yeah,
Listen,
I'm not.
I
There's no way I'm spending
I am
$1,200.
listen. I am gonna stand on this hill and die. People FOMO'd to spend more money for something that they were contemplating spending $700
That
on.
is so crazy. That is so
They
no. That can't be me. That cannot be me. That will never be me.
as soon as it happened, because dude, I'm sorry. When they announced the price, I told myself then that is too much for not enough. They weren't giving me enough. And that was my opinion, and I didn't do it. And it's the thing. I always tell people, if you are brand new to the PlayStation 5 ecosystem, then it doesn't hurt to get a Pro because you're getting the best version of the console. But if you already have a PS5, I'm not turning around and upgrading for what they were offering for the amount of money they wanted. I'm like, dude, it's like a $300 difference. It's not $100 difference. It's a $300 difference. So when they announced that new price and and I'm not pocket watching anybody because guess what? You can spend your money how you want to. Some people traded in their old system and got their Pro for a lot cheaper than they would actually normally have been. But my whole standpoint is a lot of people ran out to spend more money for something that they were on the fence about because it was already too much money. And it's crazy. And it's the psychology of PlayStation. It's the power of PlayStation, bro. PlayStation basically told people, we're giving you a week. This is what you gotta do. And this is what happened. And shout out
Yeah, no,
to them.
yeah,
You put
no.
a
They're not
timetable
getting
on
me.
something. You put a
I can
timetable
hold
on
on to
something. Yeah.
PS6.
Oh yeah.
I can hold on to PS.
Well, like and we're gonna talk. Well, I'll bring it up during the state of play because Slow-Mo heard me say it while I was watching God of War. La Fe, shout out to that game. When I was watching that, I blurted it out so loud. I was like, I'm so glad I still got a PlayStation because I held on to my PlayStation not for a PlayStation exclusive. I held on to it for God of War. I mean, I forgot God of War for Grand Theft Auto because I'm not going to wait a whole year to play Grand Theft Auto on PC. I'll just buy it on PC when it comes out later. But now I have another reason that I'm glad I have my PlayStation 5 and you know, we're there. I'm still upset about it. You know, I shouldn't be able to play that on PC, but whatever.
Yeah, let's get into this last rapid fire, and then we can get into
We're still in
the state of
rapid?
play. Yeah, man.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
So this leads us into our PlayStation topic for state of play, but it was in a study published by Game Files, Steven Totillo. PlayStation's first-party game sales have collapsed compared to the previous generation, the PS4 generation. First-party game sales have been on a slow decline since 2020, with a slight uptick from 2024 to 2025, but still below where they were last generation. So I think there was a pretty good topic to get into and discuss real quick before we get into our impressions of the state of play. Ramon, what do you think the lower sales is due to? What's your opinion on that?
Gee, I don't know, man. Could it be the the near vertical price increase? The fact that the consoles are significantly more expensive than what we paid for them at launch.
Mm.
Also contributing to that being that this is the first generation where the previous generation was supported for so long. I'm sure old Jimbo, Jim Ryan, you know, some of his blunders probably helped too, but primarily, dude, like, and you know, and it's not PlayStation's fault. They had to raise the price because freaking OpenAI and freaking Nvidia and you know, I'm not going to mention the third individual who's going senile, have contributed to the overall struggling of, you know, the gaming sector in addition to, you know, other sectors in technology. So I mean, it's just been a perfect storm in the worst possible way. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it's the price raises, the RAM apocalypse as they're calling it. You know, prices have risen, and people are hurting. On top of that, it's not like everybody, like the economy's world economy's doing fantastic, and people got all this extra money, and they're like, well, I don't want to pay that much, but okay, man, people are hurt right now, and then this is happening. So yeah, this should be expected. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Hmm. Forte, what's your opinion on why this is happening to PlayStation?
Well, ask the question one more time. I want to make sure I answer this the correct way.
Why is PlayStation's first party sales lower than last generation?
Well, last generation was 2013 through 2020, technically. I mean, technically, it's still ongoing, but because they still release games on PS4. But I think in general, there's less people are buying games, well, newer games. More people over the course of like the last 3 to 4 years been playing a lot of like free to play games. You got to remember Fortnite came out towards the back half of last generation. So spending is a little bit lower compared to, like, you don't spend as much money in Fortnite as you were spending 5-6 years ago than you know now. You still spend money, but you don't spend as much as you used to spend. So microtransaction counts are probably down. I don't know 100% because I haven't looked at any numbers for that, but it just seems like the amount of money people are putting in is less than they were at the apex, and then you start thinking, COVID basically straddles both generations. It straddles the very tail end of the PS4 and the beginning of the PS5, and there wasn't enough PS5s out there to really saturate the market. Most of the spend was still on PS4 at that time. So I just think it's just more of a numbers game at this point. There's still a lot of people that haven't moved over to PS5, even though they have announced ridiculous sales numbers for the console. And then you got to think about services and stuff too. Like services definitely eat into that number when you have different tiers like PlayStation Premium that allows you to have a huge backlog of games instantly by just having your subscription service. A lot of games that people would have just bought to try out, or just bought that they, you know, just get caught on games that they didn't play before. That kind of helps matters on top of that. But I truly do believe that's one of the main reasons that the well, let me skip that. The main reason is just the fact that the decisions they made in 2020 when it came to like their full blown push it to live service. It wasn't like a traditional, let's test it, put our toe in the water. They wanted to jump full force into it, meaning Naughty Dog still hasn't released a first party game this generation. Like Intergalactic will be the game that comes out. Insomniac has released 2. They released 2. Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2, and they're about to release the third one. And Ratchet and Clank. So 4. So with Wolverine this year, that'll be their 4th game of this generation. Your flagship studio hasn't released 1 yet, mostly due to the fact that they were working on factions that got scrapped midway through probably a good way through development, and they had to like completely, move over to another project in Intergalactic, which they probably were already working on. But it doesn't help that revenue stream is non-existent. Then you start thinking about all their other studios. Ragnarok came out, did really well, but you're going to see growth with the next one, which is the one that's coming out probably in 2027. They just have it in development, so we don't know exactly a date on that. So I just think the move to live service is the main reason, and they're still seeing the effects of that. A lot of people were talking about how PlayStation was so ready, or it seemed like they were ready when COVID happened, that they were still releasing games. Like Returnal came out, Ratchet and Clank came out, Miles Morales came out, Spider-Man 2 was already on the docket to be getting ready to come out in a couple of years after that. So they were like all steam ahead, but it was just the fact that they had a lot of stuff in development before that even happened. So when COVID hit, they were still pretty much on track, where everybody else was like, dude, this hurts because Microsoft had a bunch of studios they had purchased. They released a lot of their games. So then it came to a point where they just had to start, waiting for those games to mature. And we're finally starting to see that, like 2 years ago with Starfield. You see it with Forza Horizon 6 or 6. Is it 6?
Yes.
This is 6. Okay. But that's the biggest thing. So for me, the decisions in live service, also couple that with, COVID, unfortunately, and most of their player base still being on PS4 during the time of the big boom in gaming, because that's when everybody was spending the most money, was between 2020 and 2021 and part of 2022. And a lot of that revenue went to a different generation than in this generation. So that's a long-winded way of just saying they just kind of, it's not their fault. It's just the way it kind of crumbled with the way that everything happened with them over the course of the generation. The live service stuff is probably the one thing I'll hold them to, because that was a very, very detriment to not just their games, but their studios and their output of games, with the exception of Insomniac.
All right. All good points you guys made. I wanna
Sounds like someone gonna give us the best point though. That's what that sound like.
well,
Give
I,
it
I
to us,
just I
Slomo.
just want to deliver some
So you
data
can do that.
that some people, I think most people don't know about.
Okay.
67% of video game players buy at least one game on an annual basis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Just 67%. That means a third of the entire gaming market
Play
is
for you to play,
playing
baby.
games where that they don't need to buy it.
Yep.
Free to play games. They're spending
Yep.
money in that, but they're not buying games. And
Nope.
PlayStation, even their live service games, you gotta pay upfront for. That's the
True.
Yep.
biggest issue. You look at the biggest games on their platform, we've seen their financials. More than 50% of the annual revenue they earn comes from 12 games. They're all live service
Yep.
games. And PlayStation makes 0 of them.
0.
So that means they're only getting 30%. That's their cut for the games to be on their platform. They're only getting 30% of that, which is why they push so hard into live service. But they only got one success out of that. Now let's break down that 67% of video game players that buy at least one game on an annual basis. 18% of those players buy 2 games per year. Just 2. So we're getting a lion's share of that 67% is just buying one game. That's one dude buying Madden and then getting the next Madden the next year. That's one dude buying NBA 2K and then getting NBA 2K next year. That's one dude buying Call of Duty and then getting Call of Duty again. It drops to 18% for 2 games. For people who buy, and this is probably the majority of the audience listening here as well as this panel, up to 12 plus games a year, you're looking at 14% of the market.
Oh yeah.
This is the addressable market that PlayStation is working with now. This is the
Yep.
market that's actually willing to spend money on their kind of games.
Mm.
Narrative-based, third-person perspective, over-the-shoulder, action adventure games. That's the market for that. And they're competing against other third-party games, against other platforms, against everything. And then on the PC market, you're competing against PC games that are exclusive to PC, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, a multitude of Western RPGs and all kinds of games on Steam that you never even heard of. Competing against all these games, competing against the attention of gamers who just they don't see the mystique of Sony and they don't care.
Yep.
And so when it comes to your first party games, the market has changed. And it's increasingly becoming a market where just people even buying games, you're in the minority. And the people in this chat and us on the panel can't be held responsible to prop up
Hold it up.
all their games. So I got footage of Soros up here. Soros is a good roguelike. Multiple people said, "Hey, I bought this game. I love it. Having a great time with it." If everybody that we know in the gaming community that we know, everyone you know and I know, and then everyone that they know together, all decide that we're gonna buy Soros, do you think that will make the game a success? Nope. Because all the hardcore gamers, you guys are a minority. Shocker. We're a minority. Just because we love a game doesn't mean that everyone else will. Or even when people who are casual gamers even know about it. Expedition 33, people sung its praises all last year. How many copies did it sell? I think last time I looked, it was up to close to 7 million. That's it. A freaking Pokemon game that will get the worst reviews in the world will outsell that in a week. It just is what it is. The market has changed. It's not simply because and look, if you want to have a conversation about the quality of the games, maybe you feel the games that came out last generation that PlayStation made are better. That's fine. But quality of games doesn't always translate into sales. I mean, we see that with
Sure.
a number of annual release games that people say are garbage, but they sell like crazy, right? Um, if you want to say that the live service push, not necessarily was a mistake, but it was poorly executed, I would 1000% agree. But it's a dwindling player base that you're trying to attract to those kind of games. And as we see with live service games, when people get invested in a particular, some of these games, I won't even call them games no more. They're a platform. Those games are a platform. Roblox is a platform. Fortnite is a platform. To get someone to get off of those games to go play your game, that's a very, very difficult endeavor. Because when people start playing those games, they feel invested. They feel like I've spent thousands of dollars in this game over the years. And I don't know how I feel about stopping to play something else. I feel like I wasted my time and my money if I do that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like, this isn't something that was really a big deal until Minecraft happened. And then Fortnite happened. And then we started getting
And then
more
Roblox.
games that were just never ending ongoing games. And so now that's something to contend with. This is what you're competing with. This is why so many publishers continue to keep pushing for those kind of games, because they could finance all their other first party games. They could potentially deal with all of their revenue issues. Epic Games went from being a a large developer of Gears of War, as well as a supplier of a game engine that a lot of people use, to a publisher and storefront off the strength of Fortnite. That's growth that no one else could none of these other publishers or platforms can realistically see. And Epic achieved that because Fortnite became that big. That's what they want. Because what we want, which is a great God of War, I mean, they're gonna work on that. They're gonna make it, and they're gonna make it exclusive because they see that they want to try to make it so that it achieves more sales on their home platform than anywhere else. But the amount of people that are playing these games, the numbers ain't looking good. They're getting lower. So take that take that for what it's worth. You guys ready to get into this last topic here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. So we got a state of play last Tuesday. It was 75 to 80-minute state of play. Very much longer than what they typically go with. We saw some first party games. We saw a lot of third party games, a lot of opinions on what was seen. But since we were just talking about the sales of first party, let's get into the first party content that they revealed. And so let's start with probably the lesser known one out of those, like probably the one that is not even probably. I know this one got less actual views on the individual trailer than the others, and so we can just get this one out of the way. Although it's probably more exciting to me than the rest of the panel. Until Dawn 2 was revealed. And Until Dawn 2 is being developed by Firesprite, who is typically known to be a VR developer. But Firesprite is taking over the IP now that Supermassive Games, who originally made the first Until Dawn back in like 2015, I think, 2014, 2015, is no longer working exclusively with PlayStation. PlayStation does own the Until Dawn IP, so I guess they're out. And Ballistic Moon, which was a studio of former Supermassive developers, was shut down after the remake for Until Dawn bombed. Now comes the Firesprite. And so we got a trailer for that. Looked pretty interesting to me. Ramon, what were your thoughts about Until Dawn 2?
So, I was at work and then doing chores after work, and so I wasn't watching it live. And because I wasn't watching it live, the minute I realized what it was, I fast forwarded past it.
Wow.
I have no interest. Whatever.
Really? No, none?
I have negative 10 interest. Like,
Oh,
Wow.
it is so far off my radar that like you couldn't get it any farther off my radar. I have no interest.
Wow. Well, okay. I'm not offended. I won't be offended. Forte.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say it was trash or garbage. I just said it's not my wheel.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not offended. Like I said, I'm not offended. You just not invited to the cookout no more. Anyway, Forte.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Forte. Until
Yes.
Dawn 2. What did you think about it?
Oh, it looks really cool. I watched the trailer again. Now, full disclosure, I'm not gonna play this game because I didn't play any of the other ones. I enjoy watching my daughter play these games. It's like her favorite one. So I asked her, did she get a chance to see the trailer at the State of Play? She said no. Well, no, she said she heard about it. She didn't get to watch it. So I was with her when we watched it again and just watching her light up, bro. She was like, "Oh, this is gonna be incredible." So yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely going to be picking it up, mostly just to experience it with her. But like Ramon said, I don't think they're a bad game. It's just not for me.
Guess I'm alone here. That's fine. Look,
Oh
I
yeah, you're
got hyped.
definitely
I got
definitely
hyped for
alone.
this. It's coming out in February. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I don't think it's coming out in February. It's set to be released next year. And they didn't have a release date for a release like period or whatever, but sometime next year, which is fine. I love these kind of games. I love these narrative driven kind, even though I have Directive 8020 from Supermassive that I haven't played yet. I'm gonna get into
Oh, that's
that next
great.
week. But so a couple things. So like they got the actor from Stranger Things, the one that they played the one girl from the crew's older brother. He was in a couple seasons for Stranger Things. He's in this. He's probably like the biggest actor in this. The rest of them, outside of what is that guy's name? The guy that does the narrator kind of guy. He played the therapist in the original game. I can't remember his name. Mayor, Strong, whatever. It's something like that. But like he's a pretty well known actor as well. But I love these games because especially with Until Dawn, the original, this was the game that convinced me to buy a PlayStation 4. Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, all right, it's time to get a PlayStation. I want to play that, and it was the only place to play it. I love these kind of games because your choices really matter. And until the first original Until Dawn, literally everyone could die. or everyone can live. It's really up to the choices that you make, and if it's got a compelling story, then that's really going to get a lot of eyes on that. There's a significant number of gamers out there that like these kind of games. Some of them like them as like their main driver, and other people like them as just like a palate cleanser. Let's say you just played through 007 and you want to play a directive 80/20, something that's a little less gameplay, a little bit more thinking, and a little bit more getting involved in the narrative and the characters and whatnot. So for me, this is I'm pretty excited for it. Now that said, I don't think I've ever played a Fire Sprite game. So I don't know how well Fire Sprite can do with doing this kind of genre. Because as we've seen with Supermassive, I think they are, as well as Telltale and other developers that make these kind of games, Don't Nod with Life is Strange. The quality of these games can vary. If you don't have compelling characters, or you don't have a interesting, exciting story, or if you make the mistake of having characters do really, really, really stupid things that are even um kind of counter to the personalities of the characters, or just making all the characters dumb in order to push storylines forward, people get a little annoyed with that. And so that may be fine for a game that's a first person shooter or an action adventure game where the draw there is the gameplay. But these kind of games, you need to be better at that kind of stuff, almost to a degree of like how you would write a movie and edit and really get deep into figuring out the storyline of a movie in order to make sure that this really works. So I don't want to dwell on it too much because I know you guys don't care about it, but I'm excited for it. I'm glad they're making it Until Dawn 2. I hope it does well because I think if this one bombs, this would definitely be the last one you see from them. But we'll have to see. Anything else you guys want to say on this before we get to the next game?
Oh, let's go.
I'm good.
All right, so they started off, and me and Forte were a bit surprised by this. They started off with Wolverine, which I kind of thought we may get later on in the show, but this is like the very first thing they showed, and I thought Wolverine looked amazing. Of course, Wolverine's being made by Insomniac. We had a 7-minute gameplay sequence that they showed, and I thought it looked great. I will say this: the nitpicking that I saw from people about this game. I just want people to keep the same energy when the Xbox showcase pops up and people start nitpicking, fanboys, because this is what fanboys do. As we discussed about Cyberpunk, where the Cyberpunk tabletop fan who didn't like the game nitpicked music in a very like ridiculous way. I'm seeing people nitpicking the blood in this game. Oh, well, the blood disappears too fast.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Right.
Jesus.
Or his suit's repairing itself after there's a whole cutscene. Okay. Or when he did the whole healing thing, when he restored himself, that his suit healed when he did. But no recognition for when he's bloody and he's walking through water, you see the blood mixing in with the water. Don't care about that. Don't care about when his suit is getting ripped up, but you see his skin healing underneath. Don't care about that. They just it's just like when you are nitpicking specific things, what is the purpose of nitpicking these? I don't know. That said, I thought the combat looked good. It's Wolverine, it's bloody, it's visceral. He's straight slaughtering people in the most brutal ways, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Now it's a more linear experience than what you got from Spider-Man, right? So I I was if you guys have been listening to us for a while, and that in Forza you will remember, that's the one thing I always wanted for this game. I did not want it to feel like basically I'm playing a Spider-Man game, but it's Wolverine. And so a more linear experience is exactly what I'm looking for because he doesn't need to be like using his claws to go to scale a skyscraper and jumping from building to building in a city somewhere. That's not him. It's a more grounded experience. That's far more violent than what you'll get from your other superheroes. So I like what I saw. There are a couple things they can clean up, visually, and that is to be expected. The release date's rough. I think it may be the most popular. Probably will sell the most in September, because it's the most popular game that will be out at that time. But you are going to get people who are going to wait on this because there's something else that they are more excited for that comes out that month. It just is what it is. And so when you have a release month that's this stacked, it's something that you're just going to have to freaking deal with. Also, I did notice that instead of saying only on PlayStation, it just said coming to PlayStation. So that the people who feel like these games are still coming to PC, they still got some life in that narrative because Sony didn't do anything to dissuade them from believing that. All that said, I'm hyped for it. I'm gonna play it day one. This is one of the games in September I'm gonna play. Is this right now? As of right now, it's this and Control Resonant for me. Everything else is maybe later kind of thing. Forte, what are your thoughts on Wolverine?
Man, I I was blown away, bro. I really, really, really enjoyed the visceral nature that they showed in that trailer. I was like, this is everything I wanted it to be, especially when it came to the combat. Um, I remember when we saw like the leaked footage of it before, and we was like, this feels like a lot of Spider-Man, which makes sense because they probably were using that as the template to,
Yeah.
craft the
You
environments and
reuse
everything.
assets, yeah, to make things
Yeah.
development easier. Yeah, makes
And
sense.
then, yep, and then just transfer everything over to one of the close to the final project when you release this. Um, I even enjoy the answers they gave to like his health and like being invincible and not dying. Reading that post about his heart stopping. I remember we were watching and we said that, yo, what was that he just did? Because he was technically he was about to die, and it was
Mhm.
like a second chance meter. And I was like, that's
Yeah,
actually
that part's
pretty
actually
cool.
about to come up. Actually, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
On the
that
jump
was
return.
actually yeah, that was really, really cool. I really liked it. And when everybody was up here talking about, oh, that's fake, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, bro, it's like okay, you have to put if you can't die in a game, that's no fun, first
Right.
of all.
Right.
So it's like they have to like build in a reason. And let's be for real, if you cut off Logan's head, he dying. And you ain't growing another head back. I mean, they never really went down that road of that happening. But you would just kind of think like, as long as he's not sustaining a fatal blow, like they rip his heart out of his chest, you would think that he would still live. But I really like their explanation to that, and how you'll go about basically just still going through it. And then they built it into like the type of character he is with a rage. It's like whenever you're fighting, you're your most vulnerable. But in order to like continually, still build up that meter. So if you have a situation that you can't get out of, just keep fighting and just keep fighting. And I really like that. Um, the only thing that kind of disappointed me is, and you actually retweeted it, where they were talking about just
I
the
was gonna
world
say
and
I was gonna say that
the,
in the bit when
that
you guys are
that
done. Yeah.
that is literally the only thing about this whole thing that disappointed me. I was like, because I kind of felt that when you saw Jean Grey for the first time, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
she
but
didn't
I
look
had to like
like regular Jean
she did
Grey.
that she didn't look like Jean Grey, and I was like, I think that's Jean Grey, but I don't know. And I was like, then when it
So
finally
so
came out, I
so
said,
so
okay,
so,
I
so
thought this.
let's discuss that a little bit for the people in the chat and the people
Yeah,
listening later on who may not understand what we're
yeah,
talking
go
about.
ahead.
So after the state of play, Insomniac developers have been coming out and speaking on a couple of questions that people have had. And they explained that the X-Men don't exist in this universe of the Wolverine that they have. But Wolverine's
Yeah, I think they said
wearing
not yet formed or something like that.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
yet formed.
but Wolverine's wearing his X-Men uniform. So it doesn't really like make because like Wolverine and this let me put my nerd hat on, my comic book nerd hat on. Wolverine, but and even when he joined the X-Men for a significant a period of time, was still using his beige and brown color scheme for his uniform. It looks exactly as far as design like the uniform you see right now in the gameplay, but it's just not yellow and blue. He didn't switch to the yellow and blue until he had been with the X-Men for a long period of time. Yellow and blue is the X-Men colors.
Yep.
So if there's no X-Men, why is he wearing these colors? That's the one thing that kind of irked me. The second thing
Yep.
was, and it's more, it seemed to be implied to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but I know from the hack that happened with Insomniac, and we all know that this is supposed to be occurring, that they were going to make an X-Men game at one point.
Yeah.
It seemed to me if the X-Men don't exist in this universe, then did that X-Men game get canceled? Because that was supposed to happen after Wolverine, and then I think that Venom spinoff may have been canceled, probably likely so because rest in peace to I forgot the Todd, forgot his first
Tony
name.
Todd.
Tony Todd.
But
Yeah.
Tony Todd said that he recorded a whole bunch of lines they didn't use though. So
Yeah, but if
it,
it's supposed to be a
the
Venom game, like probably need more than just the whole. You need he has to have more lines than anyone else in order to get that done. Unless they're going to use AI to fill in the rest, and his estate's fine with that. Which, who knows how that would turn out. That's it. Like I'm a for full disclosure. When I say I'm a comic book fan, I am an X-Men fan first in all of that. I started reading X-Men when I was 11.
Right.
And they are probably like my collection of comics. I probably have more X-Men. It's probably 50% X-Men comics and then 50% anything else that I was interested in. So I'm a big X-Men fan. And I could be a stickler for the story. And sure, like I understand creative license. It's a different multiverse. That's fine. You want to make some changes because of a different multiverse. That's cool. I get it. But to just no X-Men at all, but then why is he wearing this color suit? And just like, I know that sounds nitpicky, so sue me. I don't care. I don't like it. That annoyed me. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Forte, you can go ahead and continue. My bad.
No. I mean, but that is pretty much the gist of my thoughts on it. Like I said, that was like the only thing that kind of irritated me, but it's not going to stop me from enjoying the game when it does finally come out, because I think in general it's everything that we wanted out of a Wolverine. Like I said, even when like the first, I didn't even notice because I was paying attention to other stuff. I didn't even notice till you mentioned it that his uniform, that he was healing underneath it, and you would still see the damage that it was taking. I thought that was really cool. Now, sure, in certain parts did it like regenerate itself. I mean, those are little things that's going to get ironed out at the end, because you can see the premise of what they're trying to do. Like, we want him to look like he's in battle, but he still has healing properties, where his uniform is still going to show the carnage that he went through, even knowing his body itself. Even when he was like killing, like, going through and, basically hurting people, walking through, when he would walk into water, you would see the water knock all of the excess, blood off of his body and everything, and you would just see it pulling up in the water. And I was like, bro, the attention to detail was so it was so good that I just found myself like just looking around at him, just throwing people, and it was just good, bro. I really enjoyed it. I was shocked, like you said, we talked about it, like how they showed it right out the gate. But I think that was the best decision because you basically amped up the show right off rip and told people like, this is what we're doing, and then we'll talk about the other side of that is, and that's how they finished it. But I really like what I saw, and it's definitely a day one. It's definitely a day one for me.
Ooh, Ramon, what are your thoughts?
I rarely pre-order. I will be pre-ordering my physical copy tomorrow. Um, that's how you start a show. You start off on an adrenaline rush. Everybody was nervous, and rightfully so, nervous about, it being violent enough because this is Wolverine. But I think Insomniac came into that with a very high awareness of people's trepidation about that, and they said they gonna trip when they see this. Like that to me, it has vibes that scream, oh yeah, we know they're worried about it, and wait till they see this. The action looks incredible, the attention to detail is incredible. There's a certain thing called suspension of disbelief,
Mhm.
and I people complaining because his uniform healed with him when he was near death on that with that little mini boss. But it's like, dude, come on. Like if he's walking around with half his mask missing, it's gonna be an eyesore. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna look right. It's gonna look crazy. And then what does he do? Take it off? That doesn't work either. So it's like there has to be some give and take. You got to have suspension of disbelief. You know what I mean? Like just come on now. And like when they shot him with that laser shotgun, whatever it is, in the back, and his whole back was just open. And in the middle of the fight and everything. I mean, just the tag teaming with Gene and
Mhm.
just the way he shook the blood off before he retracts his claws back after that second takedown, and you already talked about the blood in the water and everything, and it's just like you know well, the blood comes off of him too fast. It's like, dude, like again, like the the thing that gets me is I see so many people say, oh, Sony makes these overproduced cinematic games, blah, blah, blah. But then when there's something that's gamey about it, then they get criticized for that too. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, they can't do anything. They can't have something that is gamey because, I mean, you have to, there's some give and take that has to happen here. But then when they make these big, AAA blockbuster cinematic like experiences that are also fun, people criticize that and call them overproduced and that they need to be realistic. And so it's just like I purposely avoided the internet before because of spoilers, and after the showcase for the state of play for that exact reason, because I didn't want to be annoyed and I wanted to give myself at least 24 hours to be happy about what I saw in the showcase before, all of the jaded adults, and then, children who just like to complain, got onto my feed. I wanted to have at least a day to be, to enjoy it unsullied because everybody complains about everything. Everybody criticizes everything. I mean, well, not nitpicks, but like criticisms are fine. Like Slow-Mo, your criticism of the coloring of his uniform is understandable. You know the lore and everything. I'm a casual.
Yeah,
I don't. I've never.
although I guess I'm not as old as I think I am because I started in 1991 is when I started reading comics, and he was, uh,
X-Men is the seven.
yeah, yeah, and so, but the thing is that his first reveal was like in the like mid '70s, and he did actually his very first appearance. He was in the yellow and blue, so I do
Oh,
shout out to uh Dotness in the chat for correcting me. So I do have to, I'm not perfect on the comic lore, so there are
No,
nerdier
you're good,
guys than
brother.
me. But for a significant period of time, the brown and beige was what he was wearing. And then a lot is I would say probably like the era that I appeal to the most when it comes to X-Men is Jim Lee penciling it, the greatest comic book artist ever, and Chris Claremont, likely the best X-Men writer that they've ever had. When they were together on Uncanny X-Men, a lot of that period, Wolverine was in the was in the brown. And so it wasn't until they did the second run of X-Men that was like Jim Lee's final maybe like dozen of issues before he went on to Image Comics that like he started wearing blue. Again, started wearing blue again when they had Blue Team and Cyclops is running that. So I I can understand why they look if you want to say that you doing the yellow and blue um is understandable because that's how people see him the most. Like if you weren't a fan of the comics, but you were a fan of the cartoon, then you've only really seen Wolverine in yellow and blue because that iconic cartoon from the 90s was just yellow and blue for him. Um, if you're a fan of the other games, then or in other games you've seen him in, you've been seeing him in that colors this entire time period. So if they want to just do that, that's fine. That's a nitpick on my part, and I'll own that. I'd much rather if he's not there is no X-Men that exist here, then I want him in brown. But
And I
that's
remember the cartoon. Oh, sorry.
No, but that's it. Like there are people in the chat who feel like the X-Men game hasn't been canceled. Do we know that for certain? And frankly, I don't know if I really care for an X-Men universe in this multiverse where we're introduced to Wolverine first, but the X-Men come later. They call them Team X.
Yeah.
I don't look. You know what that reminds me of. And now I'm about to get probably about to piss the people off. That's fine. It reminds me of when people were wondering if the MCU would not call them X-Men because of men, the men in X-Men.
Oh
Ooh,
no.
isn't that a little misogynist? How about X
Hmm.
people? Like, yeah, how about you kiss my, like, no, you don't change the name, right? So Team X sounds it just sounds dumb to
Ridiculous.
me. It just sounds ridiculous. And it should originate. Any of this should originate not with Wolverine, but with Charles Xavier and the original X-Men and Charles's dream of peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans. Like, sure, Wolverine's super popular. He's the most popular X-Men, even though like the vast majority of the stories barely include him, but that's fine. I don't like how it seems like they're making the mistake I think Fox made with the X-Men movies, where
Wolverine and the X-Men.
yeah, exactly. It's like Wolverine's the main character,
Yep.
and he shouldn't be. That was a mistake on Fox's part because Fox is dumb. I don't want Insomniac and Sony making that kind of mistake. Now, okay, off my soapbox. Y'all go ahead and continue.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they like I came out of that reveal super hype. I will be it will be one of my rare pre-orders. I feel like this year is going to be a rare year of pre-orders for me because everything looks so good. But yeah, Wolverine is absolutely a day one. Absolutely a day one. I liked everything I saw. Hopefully there'll be some really cool dual sense features to go along with it. But that's really all I can say is I'm all in. I remember the cartoon from the 80s where he was actually the louder Wolverine instead of like almost a whispery voice. He was like the loud, growly voice with the it was like the red and yellow or red and brown, something like that uniform that he had. Like I remember those colors and I remember that Wolverine who seemed a little bit more savage than the one from the 90s cartoons which I think when you pre-order, you get that outfit, if I'm not mistaken. But like anyway, that I'm just gonna cap it off there. Like that's all that needs to be said. It looks amazing, and I can't wait for it.
Cool, man. Forte, any more thoughts on this before we move on to the last one?
I'm good.
All right. Well, this one's going to be. I saved this one for the last of their exclusives because this one seems to have created the most conversation and not in a good way, I would say. So a lot of cringy conversation from people who I would think don't bathe regularly,
Oh,
or even know what women look like. God of War, Lao Fei was revealed, and with a 23-minute reveal trailer of like an actual sequence from the game, and I would say visually it looked really good. I think the gameplay looked amazing. Of course, it's being made by Sony Santa Monica, and this focuses on Kratos' wife, who, if you play God of War 2018, there was an entire like burning memorial service, whatever you want to call it, for her at the very
Funeral
beginning of
pyre.
the game, and then you kind of see her speaking to Kratos throughout certain points throughout God of War Ragnarok, and we see some of that lining up with what's happening in phase spinoff game, I guess. And so this kind of takes place in I don't want to call it the afterlife. I don't even know what you call this. It's like a different dimension. I don't know. She was her body was burned and it seemed like her soul moved on to this place where there are other gods from other cultures there, which I think is super dope. Uh, People wanted a return to your character being able to jump because I guess Kratos' his knees is too bad in his older age and he don't jump no more like that. But apparently Faye does. And it's been a lot of conversation because it seems like instead of people looking at what Sony Santa Monica has been working on and having a honest conversation about the content itself and what it may or not be good with. I mean, there is some conversations like that, but it doesn't seem to be the main conversation. It seems to be people just complaining about the fact that they are using the main character as a woman. And I've seen people come up with these narratives of like, oh, well, look at all of the PlayStation games that started out like the IP started out with a male character and then switched to a woman. And then, of course, they conveniently leave out stuff like the Infamous series that had Cole as the main character in the first two games. And then in the third game, they switched to another man. They just ignore that. That's not in it. They forget that something very recently that happened. Returnal started with a woman character, and next game is Soros, which literally just came out, and the main character is a man. Forget that. Don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. Or want to talk about Control, which was a woman in that game, and then in the sequel, Control Resonant, it's her brother, a man. But all that stuff gets ignored because people got a grift and complain about a woman character. Control like I don't know what kind of insecurity it is where or how they play video games where they feel like the character they're controlling is them, which I think is weird. It's not you. It's a fictional character. Maybe go touch some grass for real. But like you shouldn't be feel some kind of way about the main character being a woman in the story, and some really, I would say, offensive sexist memes out there in social media. If you probably can't even avoid it at this point of like people using AI to. I mean, I've seen. I'm not even going to get into some of the stuff I've seen has been pretty disrespectful. Um,
yeah.
I like what I saw. I don't know when this game is coming out because it just said in development. It could be late 2027. It could be 2028. I'm thinking probably leaning more towards it gets delayed into 2028. And maybe they know that they got a feeling that's the case, and so they didn't want to like disappoint people with a release date they couldn't stick to. That said, the only thing I really somewhat was disappointed with was the Jello Cube. I don't like him at all. And look, I like Jack Quaid as an actor. I could already kind of see where this is going with that Jello Cube thing. Um, I don't really care about him being a part of the combat. He just looks goofy to me. And even in the boss fight that's later shown later on that was dope. I was all into the boss fight, and then this cube keeps throwing its cube jello body at the ball. I'm just like, bro, let's go somewhere. I don't like the cube at all. Like and I can guarantee you're gonna be playing this game, and the cube's gonna be like, "Hey, Faye, if you pull that lever over, I think you pull that lever over there, then we'll get this door open." Shut up, cube. I know what you're here for. You're here to just tell me how to do the puzzle and to be a comic relief. The ribbon on the sword already talks. I don't need you, cube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm annoyed that. That's it. Forte, I know you were loving this and you're a huge God of War fan, so the floor is yours, sir.
Let me tell you, I thought it was amazing. As soon as I saw the cube talking, I was like, oh. Well, first of all, I started this by saying, like, wait a minute, look, it's a cute little thing that Sony can sell for the little animal that was running on all fours with the long tail. And then they proceeded to throw them in fire. I was like, oh no. I guess this was just to get you invested for half a second. But But the thing that I like about first of all, I'm talking about what I like first. First thing I just like overall. I never thought I would like say that I wanted the jump button back until I saw the combat. I saw like a very, very good, healthy spurt of like the in-air combat reminded me of Devil May Cry when you're doing air combos and stuff. It just kind of just looked amazing, fast paced, really good. Um, I liked when she was able to pick up the armor that was on the ground, which you could do in previous God of Wars, God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. You could do that, so they're carrying that over. Picking up the weapons and everything that was on the ground, really like that. Which is the difference because Kratos, you didn't pick up weapons, you just picked up armor. So with her being not armed with like particular weapons other than her powers, I like that you can like salvage and pick up other people's stuff. I just like the overall dynamic of what the companions are doing. You're in the world. First of all, this is the world called Everwin. You're in the realm of Everwin, is what they call it, and you don't know what this place is. So it's like your suspense of belief is completely out the window because this is something you know nothing about. So you don't know what gods of this or god that might be the god of the refrigerator or the freezer, an ice cube, a gelatin cube. Who knows? I'm in for it because it's different. It's something new that I didn't expect. Yes, I understand some people are going to be irritated by it, but we're also playing a game that is, well, I'm not going to say that granted in reality because there are gods, there is mythology around all that stuff. So there is like a place that underlining understanding of what it is, but we're not playing in that realm. We're playing in a world where gods go to die and you're being told a story from just and like I said, they haven't said it, but just from a narrative standpoint of watching it, is a good chance that she can find her way back to her son and back to Kratos. And then we could get an even bigger God of War at the end where, like, who knows, the gods could be free from whatever, with the gates being open and everything. I was more invested in the story that they were trying to tell right off the rip as soon as she landed in that world. And I was like, bro, this is different. Like it's like something it's something you didn't know you wanted until you saw it. And then just the combat where he just said, when the sword said take me, and then like just the overall aesthetic look of her swinging the sword with the ribbon and stuff on it, and the ribbon was like just the animation of all of it just looked really, really good. So I really liked what I saw there. And it's like a mirror image of what you saw with God of War 2018 when he was fighting at the very beginning with just the single cut camera where it doesn't cut at all. Like that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh yeah, this is Cory Barlog. We ain't cutting the camera one time during this whole thing. And just the camera work, the ability to move around and still digest exactly what you were seeing on the screen, masterful. I just don't, I can't say no more about it. Now, going to a lot of the criticisms of the game, I understand what people like. There's no bigger. I mean, I'm a huge God of War fan. This is the reason I bought a PlayStation 4. I bought a PlayStation 2 for God of War, PlayStation 3. I didn't even buy my PlayStation 3 until God of War 3 came out. I didn't even buy it till the end. And then I bought a PS4 for it. And then I bought my PS5 knowing there was a God of War coming. So I love it. But I do understand how people feel about God of War being in the name, but it not being US Kratos. But I'm here to tell you, does that really matter at the end of the day? Like, everybody complains about wanting something different. They want something more. They don't want the old, painfully lumbering type of gameplay that you're getting. Well, they're giving you that. To this day, I'll be the same person that tell you I don't want to play as anybody other than Master Chief in Halo until they gave me Halo Reach, which I think is the best Halo game ever made that doesn't even have Master Chief in it. When you think about other games that, people love Uncharted, they actually gave you an Uncharted when you played as Nadine in the Lost Legacies, and people love that. And they turned that into a full-fledged DLC that was supposed to be its own little thing. You're about to play the next Last of Us that comes out. If they make it, you're not going to be playing with Joel at all. And they, it's just a whole bunch of different things that kind of happen in video games like that. Now, I understand the synonymous of the God of War. Kratos ain't been the God of War for a long time, bro. It's been years since he was a God of War. You might actually get a chance to really see the God of War pop up in whatever the sequel to this game is, because I kind of got an idea where it's going. I'm just here for the ride to see it and understand it and enjoy it and take it all in, because this is their creative freedom on what they created. And I'm in for it 100%, and I enjoy it, and that is all that matters at the end of the day. People can be upset. I respect people's feelings about it, but I just say at the end of the day, unless you're not going to play the game at all, then it's really no reason to have these discourse online about it, because I feel like you could be more respectful, because I just been seeing a lot of disrespectful posts and stuff and people talking about it. And I'm like, I can say I don't like something without completely tearing it down and making it seem like it's no good at all. I can say I want to still play as Kratos, but I can say I understand the direction. I wish that we could play as Kratos as the God of War, but I'm willing to let them cook so they could change my mind to make me feel like, dang, I'm glad that they did this, because not only am I getting a side story in the branching path of what God of War is, it's ultimately going to get me to a better version of whatever the next game is, because now we have story points and plots that's going to lead us to places that we knew nothing about. And I'm in for that 100%. And I hope people understand that when they see why things are happening the way they are happening. But I will say, the last thing I'm going to say is, I will say it is playing with fire when you don't have the main protagonist on the screen and you ain't playing with him, because if the game falls on his face, you're going to hear about it. So there is a fine line. They definitely putting themselves out there to say, we're going to make a game that's going to be unforgettable, and you'll love it so much you won't even know that you're not even playing as Kratos. Because that's what Halo Reach did for me. I did, after 4 or 5 hours in, Noble 6 was my character. I didn't care about not playing with Master Chief, because the
Six was
game
a dope character. Yeah.
Yeah, Noble 6.
The whole team. The whole team was dope.
Noble 6, Cat, George, everybody.
Here's the thing about doing stuff like that. Halo Reach was a story we already knew the outcome of. So therefore, you could create characters where you could be a bit more ballsy. You could decide to like systematically, slowly take out that whole team and have them die in heroic ways or shocking ways. But if you created characters that people cared about, then the impact of that would be strong. So like you really had to have a impactful story, which they did, and memorable characters, which they did, which would then make it say for people who are like, well, I can only want to play with the Master Chief. Okay, I'm good. Because the story's good. It's not a mainline story. ODST, not a mainline story. But playing with those ODSTs and the events that occurred in that game and what they went through, that was good. It was a shorter experience, but it was good. And so if you can deliver on these kind of games, like I'm not saying this is definitely going to be on the level of like God of War 2018 or Ragnarok, but like it's not a mainline game. Like people were out there saying stuff like, "Oh, she's replacing Kratos," and they had to go address that nonsense by saying Kratos is not going anywhere. You're going to get more games with Kratos in it. Like it's just people run with narratives that are completely unsubstantiated, and it's just really as what was said in the chat. People are out here essentially culture warring, monetizing their timelines by saying things they know are going to anger people, rage baiting, and just a bunch of bots just replying to it, and then 60% of a poster's reply is just bots saying the most egregious thing. They're not even human beings, right? Or you check their profile and you see where they're coming from, and it's like, I mean, look, games are global, but like you look at a certain country has all the replies for this, and then you start to kind of wonder if you're even talking to people who really care about this stuff, or they just here to cause issues. It's just it's just frustrating. Ramon, what are your thoughts about all this, sir?
So, aside from the fact that I'm extremely hyped for this, the intrigue that this game brings is really high level for me. So, starting off, the rumor was that it was a prequel. Now we know that this is happening parallel to at least Kratos and Atreus' journey in 2018. It's at least parallel to that. Not sure about Ragnarok yet. We'll have to play the game. So we know it's happening in parallel. That cube, when I saw that cube, I scratched my head and I'm like, that's weird. But then I thought about it, and I thought about several things. One, nothing they introduce in these God of War games since 2018, well, because of the type of narrative it is, nothing they introduce is random. that cube is there, and I think that it could potentially be a different type of entity that was formed into that cube that we might find out what its true form is later.
Maybe a
And
character from Sons of Sparta.
You never
I,
know.
I don't know. I heard
I never,
something that Frank might be really a character that was in Sons of Sparta. I don't know. We'll see. I guess.
maybe I wasn't able to finish Sons of Sparta. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah, I
Just
think a lot of people
I
felt like you did about Sons of
Yeah,
Sparta.
I wasn't feeling that at all. The other thing is Frank is spelled Phranque, so not Frank. That to me that's a bit significant. Also, I went on Google and looked that cube up, and there are some really interesting stories about it that the water could be from the Rhine River, which is worshipped by the Franks, who are Germanic pagans that worshipped Odin slash Wotan. Also, there's a sparkly thing. There's some type of spark in the middle of the cube, and I was wondering what that was because I figured that was significant. And uh, I looked online again, and then someone was saying that the sparkly thing inside the cube is the Rheingold ring from Wagner's ring cycle, stolen from Alberich the dwarf by Wotan. Odin might is in the Everwind. Uh, Odin probably is in the Everwind and is looking for the ring. That part of that is fact from the mythology, and part of that is speculation. So I think as random and goofy as that cube seems, I think there is a lot more to it than we think. And so that's why, like, my puzzlement at that choice was immediately stamped out, because I'm like, they do everything for a reason. Now that said, I have one and only one criticism of everything that I saw, and that is when the cube knocked that low level enemy off the screen in front of Faye. He said, "Really?" That was absolutely, and respectfully to the writers, that to me screamed of a writer that might not have a lot of experience, because you don't write this type of story and have characters using modern colloquial terms.
Buddy,
Like, really?
buddy, you might
You
want to
know,
look
like,
at some of the people that wrote on this game. I'm just saying.
oh, really?
Eh,
Okay.
I see why some people were a little hesitant on the writing here.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look. But
Hmm.
that one bit right there, I was like, okay, dude, you've got to stick to tone. You've got to stick to tone. Like, seriously. And that was off tone. That was one thing. But aside from that, um, we have had what, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8. Kratos has carried us through 8 adventures. 8. I think it's probably okay if they give us a different story with someone else who's also badass. I mean, dude, Faye was such a powerful warrior that Kratos fell in love with her for that. Like, think about that for a second. This cat, it wiped out an entire pantheon of gods, and he's a demigod. This dude is like for her to be that much of a badass that Kratos fell in love with her. She went toe to toe with Odin. Like, I think
I
I
thought that
think
was Thor. I thought you went toe to
I
toe
mean,
with
not
Thor.
not not Odin, Thor. Yeah, I meant Thor.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, like, I think it's fair to say that she's more than worthy of carrying an adventure. You know what I mean? Like, we've had Kratos for 8 games. He's given us 8 games. They've already said that Kratos's adventures will continue. So it's not like there's no more games with him. And I mean, quite frankly, even if there were no more games with him, we've had 8. But we've had eight games with him. Let's have some different characters and some different adventures and then we come back to Kratos later. I mean, and then people complain and scream about sequels. Oh, too many sequels, too many sequels. Well, we've got a nice spinoff here with a different character, different types of combat, a different feel, and then I'm hearing people say, I don't want to play a God of War if it's not Kratos. And it's like, that's an opinion, obviously, and that's their choice, that's their opinion, and you know I'm not criticizing them for that. But at the same time, it's like, well, dude, we've had eight games with him. Let's have a different adventure. I think it's only a good thing. As far as the disrespectful online discourse, I haven't seen it. I won't see it
Good for
because
you.
I just avoid. It's at this point it's predictable and it's repetitive. We know how this is gonna go. We know what all these children, and that's what they are, children and bots. We know and whether
No,
they're
some of these
whether
are
they're
also
literally.
grown men who
Well, that's what I was about to say.
apparently,
Whether they're
yeah,
that's what I was about
yeah.
to say. Whether they're literally children or they're intellectually children, one way or another, there's some form of child, emotionally or whatever. We know what they were going to say. We know what the discourse was going to discourse in air quotes was going to be. So I've completely like shut that off. I don't see it, and I'm not going to because we know what's going to happen. Um, so I aside from that one little thing, with the dialogue with really and all that, like I loved what I saw. I loved it so much that I almost turned it off early because I didn't want to see too much. But fortunately, a lot of that was, story development, cutscene, and things like that. But like, I mean, she knocked a dude's soul out of his body
That was
and then
dope.
beat the crap out of his soul before sending it back to explode in his body.
Have you
Come on,
noticed?
man!
Have you
Like,
noticed? Like, I noticed this when I saw that, and it made me think about how
I
Kratos
thought it
with
was
the with
great.
the with the Leviathan axe. It seems like Sony Santa Monica likes to take a lot of cues from the MCU in the movies because Thor recalls the Thor in the MCU recalls his hammer.
Moin.
Yeah, he just like throws it, recalls it, comes back to him. Kratos does the same thing with the Leviathan axe. What Faye does with knocking a dude's soul out of his body and then beating up the soul, very, very similar to Doctor Strange pushing people's souls out of their bodies, right? Same thing.
yep,
Like same
yep,
kind of process. So it's just like and I'm not
I noticed that.
I'm not knocking them
Readily.
for it. You take inspiration out of things that look dope, that look exciting. And people love
Yep.
that stuff. People love Thor doing that. It was cool. People love seeing Doctor Strange do that. That's really, really like the better aspects of the MCU. And so yeah, taking inspiration from that makes a lot of sense.
So what you just described, slow mo, is what's called resonance. Stories do it all the time, and that's some of the most successful stories use resonance. It's called drawing on. It's drawing on the power of resonance. Um, like I can't remember what Pixar movie it was, but there was a Pixar movie where they had a scene that was from Mission Impossible when Tom Cruise fell and then he was on the wires and he fell and he stopped right above the ground on those wires. There
Hmm.
was a Pixar movie that did that same scene, and obviously it was a riff on Tom Cruise scene, but that's an example of resonance. So what
Yeah.
we saw
Or
with
like
him.
how every anime, cartoon, video game, animation somehow loves to pay homage to the Akira bike slide. You know what I mean? Where it's
Yep.
like where
Yep.
I think it's Kaneda and Akira
Yeah.
does the whole sliding stop where like he
Yep.
slides past the camera and then stops and like it's super cool and
Yeah.
everyone
It's
does
an
it.
iconic
It's in
moment.
everything.
It's an
Yeah.
iconic moment.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you
It's an
got a
iconic
bike
moment.
in a movie or a game, someone's gonna do that. Just
Yep.
guaranteed. Yeah.
Yep. But
But
yeah, like the game looks amazing, and it's an afterlife for all of the gods, all of them. no matter the pantheon. So everything in there is significant in some kind of way. And, you know, I think also the reason they, well, aside from using the word, the title God of War because of, you know, where this, what universe the story is in, there's God of Wars in that afterlife,
Mhm.
you know. So I think that, you know, it's Corey was at the helm of this game, and the lady that he interviewed, because there was a post show interview where Corey interviewed the I think she was the director, I think, of the game. I can't remember. She might have been the director of the game, and they talked for a while. It was a good interview. It was a really nice interview, and you know, they talked about some things, and I I'm I'm a little bit nervous about. I'm not nervous about the overall writing. I'm just nervous about some of the moment to moment writing that might happen, you know, just from what I saw with that one liner with the cube. But think about this. All those times when Atreus was like, I heard mom's voice, and Kratos is like, what are you talking about, boy? Like, I heard nothing. And over again, Atreus kept insisting he heard Faye's voice. So I think that, you know, when she kept saying, you know, if there's a second mask, that's impossible. That means they're in danger. And so she spends this game trying to get back to them, you know, but I think eventually, you know, as she's trying to reach them and the Trace is hearing her voice, you know, at some point she's going to realize after they overcome their journey in 2018 that they actually are going to be okay, and then that maybe that she can move on. Because some people are like, well, maybe she's going to make it back, and I don't think she's going to make it back because I think that might steal some of the significance of her death to begin with. I mean, it
Yeah, I
would be
agree with
nice.
that.
Nobody likes yeah, you know, like nobody likes a happy ending story more than me. You know, I'm a sap for that stuff. But at the same time, there's a significance to her death. She set them on that path, and she laid that path out for them as best she could, based on what she foresaw of what was coming, and to prepare them for Ragnarok and everything else. So she thinks they need her help because there's this second mask, whatever this mask is, and you know, she's trying to reach them, which is why Atreus hears her voice. But I think she's going to, at the end of all this, she's going to see them actually succeed, and she's going to be like, they're going to be okay, you know, and then she steps back and she moves on. Now, if this game parallels 2018 and Ragnarok, then everything I said might turn out a little differently. But if it only spans the length of 2018, then I think that's kind of where it's going to go.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know we're already hitting past 3 hours on the live stream, and appreciate everybody for still hanging in with us. But I wanted to at least name the other games that were like the third party games that were shown there. And ask you if there were any games of those that you guys were also interested in. We had Marvel Tokon, Fighting Spirit, Phantom Blade Zero, Dune Awakening, Control Resonant, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Silent Hill Townfall, Rayman Legends Retold, Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered, The Lost Wild, Unseen, and Ill. That horror game that made me go ill because it was freaking disgusting. Forte, what which of those games were you interested in, or maybe none of them were?
None of them, because there was only. And I'm gonna before I go on my
Oh yeah,
last
I
thing.
missed one. I missed one. Ace Combat 8.
Oh yeah. Hey, Ace Combat. Well, I said that during my part that I was, you know, that was the first game that came out of my mouth before I even got the God of War and what's the name. But there is another game, but I'll talk about that another game after you guys say your part. But go ahead.
Okay. Ramon, which of those games were you interested in?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember. So, Onimusha is a definite cop. I just don't know when yet. Phantom Blade, like, there's going to be when I see their deep dive later on this summer, you know, assuming everything looks like it's been looking, that's going to be a 100% grab. Uh, I was somewhat on the lighter side of lukewarm interested in that 1 to 3 player co-op game until that lady Ikumi Nakamura walked out on stage and was instantly likable. So I want to buy it just because I like
Unseen.
her.
Unseen.
No, Kimuri, I think the game is
Oh yeah, I think
the bubbly Japanese lady that came
I
on. It's
thought that was
Kimuri, I
called.
think.
It's called Kimuri. I thought it was called Unseen.
No, it's called Kimuri.
Okay, I've been calling it the wrong
That's
thing
yeah.
this entire time. So Kimuri. That
No.
yeah. All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad you
Kimuri.
said that. Uh,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, but I was like, it's interesting. But and then when she came out on stage and she was just so likable, and then when I found out what her history was in her establishing this team, like I want to get the game just to support her. And she just seems so likable too, right? And then I was just laughing when she went off the stage. The shoo shoo shoo, like she was just adorable. So she just the strength of her personality alone put that game on my radar. And what else? Rayman is a definite get. I have I have the Rayman Legends on PS4 that I loved. So that one is going to be for sure. Um what else was there? I know there's something else that I'm missing. Um I remember being hyped when I was watching the Stuntman trailer until I saw what it was and I was like, I'll pass. It didn't seem like my type of thing.
I forgot that game too. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
thought I had a full list of all the third party games. I guess I missed a few. Yeah, that Stuntman
yeah.
game's not really for me. But for
Bill
me,
looked absolutely disgusting, so no, I'll pass on that.
yeah,
So
but
yeah,
if you're into horror
that's fine.
games, you probably were really hyped for that. And I know there are a lot of horror fans that saw that and was like, "Oh, I can't wait to play that." Yeah, that's absolutely not going to be for me whatsoever. The Rayman Legends Retold. I'm going to get
Yes.
that for my daughter. My daughter loves those kind of games. She can't wait to play that. So that's for her. Control Resonant, absolutely. Kamuri, which I thought was unseen. Absolutely. I thought the combat looked really good in that, and that's the main reason why I'm going to get that, as well as Phantom Blade Zero. I don't know what the heck is going on in Phantom Blade Zero. I really kind of don't care. It just the combat looks dope, so I'm going to play it. And I think that was about it. The games that they showed that were third party that I'm interested in, and most of those I'm going to probably play them on PC. Not probably. I will be playing them on PC. So, it is what it is.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
but let's go ahead and wrap it up. I don't want to keep you guys for too long. Forte, let everyone know where they can find you over the next.
Yeah, you can find me. Well, before I leave, I just want to, and we could talk about this later because I want to see where it's going to go at a later date.
Oh
But
wait, control. I gotta add control to that. Sorry. Okay, go ahead for a second.
nice. No, you're good. Yeah, that's a good one. So during this stream, there was one game that wasn't even shown there that had articles made about it because the community came out in force. It was blowing up the chat so
Oh my
bad.
gosh, here we go. I know you ain't wasting our time with this right now.
Yes, I am. That
Oh my goodness.
that blew up the chat so bad that articles was written like
By
not
Destiny
just one.
fans.
Yes, no, not by. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, there's a
Yeah.
lot of Destiny fans out there.
By Destiny fans.
90,000 people on Twitch. All you saw in the chat was we want Destiny 3. 200,000+ people in the chat for the YouTube channel. All you saw in the chat was we want Destiny 3. Every time somebody tweeted anything on a social media from PlayStation directly, all you saw in the tweet thread was we want Destiny 3. Now, I don't know if this is going to come from anything, but 350,000 people had signed a petition. That's a great number. I've never seen I am more impressed, and like I said, we ain't got to go because it's a long, drawn-out conversation. Because I don't know if it's going to mean anything because what people are saying versus spending $300 to $500 million to make this game or to do whatever they want PlayStation to do to fund it is one thing. But I just want to give a shout out to not just the community itself, but just gamers themselves. We always say put your money where your mouth is, put your time where you feel like it is most valued. And I've never seen anything like this before. Like just a community rallying around something that they truly wanted. Now, does Bungie deserve it? I don't think they deserve it because they the ones that put themselves in this situation. But the fact that we love the game so much and we want it to continue, and Sony has a blueprint. The number one thing about a live service game is knowing that you have something there that people will support. Now, is it worth them to bet 300 to $500 million on it? I don't know that question. All I know is you don't know if the next thing they're making is going to be good. You don't know what's going to happen. But at least you know by making something like D3, it has a better chance of succeeding, especially in the live service area, than anything else that they have come up and made. The narrative is out there. The ball is in their court. I just want to say shout out to the community for coming out and supporting the way they did. And it may not mean anything in the end, but I am proud to be a person that played the game, that was out there. I wasn't out there saying hashtag Destiny 3. I was enjoying the show that they were talking about. SloMo was looking at me like I was crazy. And I said, bro, look at the chat. The chat is going crazy with hashtag we want Destiny 3. But I just want to say congratulations to people actually standing up for something that they really, really want. And like I said, I don't know if it's going to come up to anything, but our voices were heard. Now it's just up to PlayStation to come out to decide if it's going to mean anything at the end of the day. So that's all I wanted to say. But with that being said, appreciate you guys for coming out. Ramon, as always, love having you here with us. It's amazing having you here. You're part of the family. Wouldn't have it any other way. SloMo, greatest host on the planet. I really appreciate him. I'm still waiting for those controller reviews to come out on his channel because I want to buy more of them. But with that being said, appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games you're playing. And have a good weekend.
All right. And Ramon?
Yo, man. Another awesome Thursday, another awesome show. You guys rock. Two of my favorite people. It's just a privilege to be able to do this show with you guys. So I really appreciate you having me. It was a blast. As I always say, we are truly blessed and an embarrassment of riches with games. I mean, I remember paying $60 for games like Mina the Hollower that just came out. You know what I mean? And now we get those games for $20. And we have all these AAA games. We're talking about Wolverine and regenerating and all this stuff. So I mean, we're in an embarrassment of riches. And I just like to reiterate every week, let's remember that joy and just don't let all of these toxic people even stress your hobby for a moment, man. Just continue having fun and enjoying this hobby because it's here to make us happy. So that being said, if you want to find me on Blue Sky, just look me up, Ramon Terrell. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Enjoy your games and have some fun. Summer is here. Get outside onto the beach, get some sand between your toes, go on some hikes, listen to bird song. Have a great time.
All right. And yeah, so we may do some more live streams because there's a lot of showcases coming up. There's a lot of stuff, like tomorrow's supposed to be Summer Game Fest. I don't know the exact time. I guess I'll figure it out. Saturday's the Future Game Show. I know a lot of people don't care about that, but I'm a little bit more excited for that because it's supposed to be extended gameplay for Exodus and that, and as well as the Xbox Showcase on Sunday and the Nintendo Direct, which is rumored to be Tuesday, but you know how Nintendo kind of keeps this stuff close to the vest until like the day before they do it. So look out for us streaming. I'll discuss it with the fellas and figure out how we can do it. Because not everyone. I mean, this is like literally almost every single day, starting from like today. So that's a little bit maybe too much of a commitment for everyone when we're grown men with families and jobs and responsibilities and stuff like that. But we'll get it figured out. But I do appreciate everyone for being here tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoy the other shows that's coming out and enjoy, a good time in gaming where we get to see a lot of exciting games that are coming out that, of course, we may not be getting right, when we see it, but pretty soon. So, getting up out of here. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, like I said, and peace.
Peace.
Later on, y'all.